Malehya. Welcome, friends. What's going on? What's up? What's going on? No drama. No drama, mama. Sweet as sugar. Lulu Melon. Hello. Shut that off. Sorry about that. Doesn't have the fade away. You know, I put this live stream off because I got busy making money in the exchange today. But as I was doing so, I was watching two channels talk about this. Two channels I haven't watched in a long time. One I haven't even seen before. I did my best thinking when I was taking in some of their commentary. Now, there's some slight misinterpretations, but without those misinterpretations, I wouldn't have checked some things. And yeah, we got some ideas tonight, friends. I went out and I took a closer look. Thank you. Who sent me that? Flight Nurse? Flight Nurse. If you're out there, I think you sent me It's a Crying Shames set of messages between Grandma and Malehya Brooks Murray. Now, it wasn't the complete, but it was a fair set of them, enough to get a good idea about where her mindset is, where Malehya's mindset is. And she's so full of shit. All right? She's full of shit. Daniel's full of shit. Somebody better start talking. Talking about how he's so controlling. He can't even fucking spell controlling. But that's the problem. Ignorance in that situation can look like a lot of things. But anyway, I'm not going to shit on Daniel that much. He's so dumb, man. There's certain times you don't want to get in front of that camera. And Nick from True Crime Rocket Science, another channel here on YouTube, had some good points in that. We'll get to some of them. He did this video with 5 new red flags from his interview. And he was picking up a couple micro expressions and the way that CBC edited it. And he was contemplating and discussing whether or not law enforcement were working in the background to extract sort of a confession out of them through more natural of a process, rather than just straight up be devious like you would expect in the United States interrogation room, where detectives lie to you all the time. But here in Canada, they deceive in different ways, and it can be seen in several recent cases, right up and including back to and beyond. It's not like it's a new tactic, but Scott Peterson to an extent with Lacey and Amber, but they pitted Amber and Scott against each other to really extract these confessions. But anyway, so that thought crossed my mind, and that was a really good idea. But welcome, everybody. It's good to see you. DJ, what's up? I'll say hello to you, my chat. One moment, please. Now, I was over in another channel. Oh, yeah, it's 35 degrees here. We've got some hardcore thunderstorms in southern Ontario passing overhead right now. It's if I just cut off, you'll know that I lost power to the house. But the good news is it'll probably be a lot cooler. I'm hoping this rain takes the edge off the heat. Fuck this heat. I damn near got upset at the grocery gal today. The heat gets to you. Donna Williams, hello, welcome in. So we're going to take a close look in this particular live stream. The focus of this particular live stream are going to be this text messages. We need to get this out of the way. It's not like I'm the first person to break this, but we're discussing it in a manner which is, in my opinion, as accurate as we can be without being a huge douche. Now, the first thing we got to acknowledge is the RCMP are about ages ahead of us in that sense. Now, just because you asked the PR guy all about the details of the investigation, what everybody's thinking, it bothers me, and I've got to say it, how the CBC panders to bring down the conversation, how it discusses it, and it got me thinking, why am I getting so upset at this? Maybe it's a tactic, and it's more likely that the establishment is being used by another part of the establishment, it wouldn't be the first time in that sense. So maybe there's some influence coming from the RCMP as to the sort of questions that the interviewer would ask. I'm not saying it is or it's not. I'm not even saying it's important to know the facts, but you generally pick up on these things only years after. I'm kind of catch myself in real time thinking, that's probably going on to a degree here too, because this shit show, well, it is bad, and I'm taking it a little less a serious tone, because I do, friends, believe that the kids are alive and being kept away. That's my personal opinion. You don't need to share that opinion. Of course, we respect all opinions, and I hope you keep your mind open at this point in time, because the lying isn't just going to up and stop. Excuse me, all the heck, coughed in your ears. Let me see here. So I watched 11/11 True Crime, and I just, for no particular reason other than they popped up on my home screen on YouTube, and I clicked on it. But she was looking at the other portions of the particular cut or edit that it's a criming shame made up. So it filled me in a little bit more. So that's when I got to thinking that, hence a little bit of an edit to the title, I got thinking that, what we do know is that allegedly this young lady, Malehya Brooks Murray, went running to probably her lawyer, which is Micmac 2 and related internally. That's a double whammy. But it occurred to me that this family could very well be working to set the government up, or set themselves up to be in a perfect position to get them in front of to get them in arbitration or litigation for punitive damages of some sort in the future. They're still edging their way. We see that here, especially online, quite often, don't we? They have whole genres with cop watchers that really do that sort of thing. But this is a different level. This would be a high profile situation where your chances of winning, especially in today's age, and it being so publicized, they'll have their own reasonings for it, but it seems like the possibility of it being a scenario where they're trying to entrap, let's say, the RCMP in this circumstance into litigation, in that sense, into a lawsuit. So keep your mind open out there, and you heard it here fucking first, boys. I'm making that long call on this market. You know that there's going to be some sort of financial end. There's a reason why Malehya Brooks Murray is acting the way that she is in those messages. So disingenuous. Worst mother of 2025. Dolly Vision's right. I credit him with that claim. And he's right on the money, in my opinion, right? Not always, but in this circumstance, he's got a firm grip on what's going on. And then some. So, excuse my voice here. I got to get a drink. It's 112 today. Where the hell are you, Tony? That's hotter than us. But it's so humid. I fucking hate living in these old houses. I live in an old house. It's not even insulated. So it means that the cold doesn't stay in. When it gets to a certain temperature, either cold or hot, and it really sucks. It means you got to put on a sweater and you can't wear your shorts anymore, or vice versa. It usually happens a couple times, but it's always uncomfortable when it's just sticky and hot, isn't it? And we're getting old too, so there's that. Complain about that sort of thing. Arizona, Tony? Oh yeah, they say that's a dry heat though. That's the type of heat that you can cook with, boy. Oh my gosh. Well, welcome in, Tony. So where do I want to start first? Oh, I guess I should start with what I just let in with. Which one do I want to do first, though? I think what I'll do is I'll bring this screen in and I'll watch. I want to read this particular clip because I don't have it here, so we may as well start with it. I don't want to capture the entire screen. That's not what I want to do. Hold on. It's not what I want to do. Just give me a moment. I've got to learning all my new buttons. I have to use my memory. And I just smoked a big one. Let me see. I should really make life easier on myself. Let's see here. It's a screen capture. It's not the whole screen. I don't know why it got me the whole screen. Excuse me. Son of a bitch. Capture window. That's more like it, dummy. I found it. Very critical and sarcastic today, as you can tell. So over here at 1111 True Crime. A lot of people out there don't like her. I don't know why. I don't care. But she's funny to me. She cracks me right up. So she started talking about this particular clip, and it's from... that's her name's Sunny, by the way. And there's Shar. And they have a little channel called It's a Criming Shame. I have to think every time I pronounce that, because I know I'm going to fuck it up. So this is the first message that on your screen that they have that she's talking about. And it's, Malehya, can I ask you a question? Why did you stop visiting with the kids? I just thought you needed time to convince Daniel he has nothing to worry about. I remember you said he thought you were only coming because you wanted to see Cody, but I don't understand because we invited her too. I bet you she's working with the cops. That's not just a little, hey, how's the weather?
Why did you stop?
This is going hard in on questions. To me, if I was a criminal like Malehya Brooks Murray is right now, I would be thinking that, why are you probing? Why are you disrespecting my privacy right now by berating me with all of these questions all in one place? That's what I would have been thinking, personally. He never wanted me to go, and I never knew why he was controlling. Okay, so let me just press play and have her read that. There's a little bit more.
Grandma, allegedly. Why did you stop visiting with the kids? I just thought you needed time to convince Daniel he had nothing to worry about. I remember you said he thought you were only coming because you wanted to see Cody. But I don't understand because we invited him too. And she says he never wanted me to go, and I never knew why. He was controlling. And I do believe that. I mean, you can choose to believe how you would like, but I do believe that. I think that I pick up a lot of controlling issues with Daniel, in my opinion. So then Grandma says, why didn't you give us your address? We would have gladly come for visits. And Malehya says, he never wanted me to give it. I never wanted to stay there. So there's a big clue right there. Okay? That's a big clue. I never wanted to stay there. So she's saying then, I didn't want to stay at that place.
Yeah, she's saying it, but it's coming from a liar right now. A person who is most likely misleading a person at that point in time. You've got to take that into consideration, but she thinks it's a clue. What do you think? Now, let her continue to make her point here.
So she didn't want to be there in the first place, and he's controlling. Kind of like, is this a sleeping with the enemy kind of thing where it triggered CPS 2? So she felt like the whole world was against her. I don't know how else to put this. And I'm not taking up for Malehya, and I'm certainly not excusing anything. I am praying the kids are alive. I'm praying that's what she did do. Because then the kids are safe, right?
If the kids weren't alive in that sense, it's probably more probability that they would have been found by now in some sort of capacity.
And in all theory, it would be the best case scenario, and worth holding on to a shadow of hope.
Just my
But
opinion.
my
Yeah.
point being, this is a mother that picked up and left the day after her children went missing, that didn't shed a tear during her interview.
See, she's on the money here. You know it, girl. Something supersedes all of that nonsense, all of these considerations. Something trumps that. The e-stop on this whole scenario is that she instinctively, and you see me using air quotes, called the RCMP. Oh, yeah. Because that's what you do, right? You don't want to talk to the cops, ever. Why would you ever want to deal with cops, especially on duty? It's generally not going to end up well for you. Unless you have a plan already set up and you're going to entrap these stupid son of a bitches into a situation of somehow mishandling and bringing all kinds of psychological damage to your reputation at this point in time, that they're going to throw a lawsuit and say, what's the worst case scenario that's going to come out of it? They're probably going to settle for a quarter of whatever they ask, or a half whatever they ask at a later date. There'll be something that they're basing all of this around, I would expect.
Knows what happened to the kids, or she knows what happened to the kids, in my opinion. But when we get into, I think I read that.
Yeah, she stayed there for 2 years. You think in 2 years you probably could have cleaned it up for her if she was she whining about it before? Well, go and get some paint, make it look pretty, bring home some flowers, put it on the kitchen table. Dressed up the place a little bit. And what's wrong with your arms? I thought this life was to build. What the hell is this, Malehya? You knew what it was when you were getting involved with Daniel far long ago. And it's easy at this point in time to put all the blame on him. I'm sure he's a big douchebag and he's not exactly maybe the best partner. But it's looking a little bad when you're maliciously kind of setting him up to do all the work on your behalf and hide out. There's no reason for you, Malehya. There's no reason for you to hide behind a lawyer at any point in time in this situation.
Let me see.
Unless you were trying to set them up.
Yeah, I did. Okay, let's get into this one. So this is the latest, greatest one. This is allegedly the mother, and this is again that grandma, the bio grandma. Bio grandma says, "Do you believe in your heart that Daniel could have hurt them?" She says, "I don't know, but he's acting suspicious and is too worried about what people think about him and not focused on my kids at all." Okay, hold the phone.
She's going to bring up a point about these two sweaters. So Daniel mentioned that there's 2 sweaters missing, or somehow he thinks that she has 2 of his sweaters. Well, don't you think that she could have possibly wrapped the kids up in them and put them in the car to confuse the scent dogs at a later point in time when they come searching for her down the line, to confuse the scent in that sense?
I'll agree Daniel's absolutely focused on himself. But you're not out here on your Facebook sharing missing posters. You're not going door to door on businesses, sharing posters. You're not doing any type of avocation for the safe return of your children, though you're pushing or were.
Well, more likely what you're seeing is the codependence that they developed to Karen Jones. When you see 2 people who how should I say this? Sometimes people with the same sort of mental illnesses attract one another in that sense, but can be confused with codependence. You're saying it sounds like they were in a folie de deux, where they both have mental illnesses that play into each other's. Daniel and Malehya. Extreme narcissism. It wouldn't seem right if you're both so self-centered that it could seem to the other person that you're just so controlling because you're both so demanding of the other person for your own emotional needs. What better way to keep them at bay than to knock her up? Put a bun in that oven. Oh. So it's bizarre to me too that Daniel is not allowed. I'm not judging, but you're not allowed to see any of your kids at this point in time. But before, you weren't seeing your kids either in that sense. So it's bizarre to me that he's so eager to go out and have more children. I don't know. It's his prerogative. So this is what we're going to look at, this text in a moment.
For pushing an abduction theory. I don't know what to do with that. How can you be all upset with Daniel when I agree he looks sus? You do too. You both do. It almost, to me, looks like I could see this going a few ways. I could see where, I'll just say it. The children were put in Daniel's sweaters to keep them warm because goats were being left behind. I don't know if it's because their names were in their coats, maybe because they're young. And
this is why I like this woman. She's not afraid to come out and say a controversial, just something controversial in that sense. Without her saying that, I would never have had my eureka moment in my head thinking that, she could have wrapped those kids in those sweaters at any point in time to kind of get past that kids leaving a scent all over the goddamn place, especially in somebody else's car. So if you wrap the kids, a 4 and a 6-year-old, in a big extra large sweater and a hoodie or something, you can keep them covered like a little bundle and swap them in the back. Nobody's the wiser. And then later on, when they come following up, say that they do see your car or they get your plates or they track you back, it's less likely that those dogs are going to, it's going to stand out to those dogs. It'll just be a smell of the other place in that sense.
Names get written in the collars of coats for those preschoolers, truth train coming through. So you didn't want the name of the kids on them. That could be. And so they were wrapped in sweaters and put in strangers' car, and away they went to be no more in your life because they're talking too much and you are protecting your baby. Or another thought that crossed my mind is that everything that old Grandpa Geezer there, O'Grady, is saying is true. And again, I still think it's CPS pushed. I do. I think he pulled a fast one on Daniel. I think he was on board with you. And then you sideswiped him too. Like you did a total getaway. Like you and him set something up maybe to get the kids out of there so that CPS isn't coming down on you guys or something, or take the heat off for a little while. But then why call 911? It's just
like it.
The fact that 911 was called. Something's weird. But could the kids been snuck away from the controlling stepfather and the threat of CPS? I don't know how it works in Canada, but I know for a huge fact
Vivian,
that there's an issue in the United States.
Yeah, well, you should research it more. You'd know all about the Canadian version. That's the cue to split. But she made a point. She made a good point. God bless her. Let's have a look-see here. I've got a little something prepared for you and I. Get back over to number 1. As you can see, Who's that in the background? Oh, hold on. There we go. As you can see, we got a super close-up of Malehya's messages. Do you believe... This is coming from Grandma Belinda Gray, is her name? Belinda, right? Hold on, I better check. I think it is. Yeah, Belinda Gray, attaboy. I remembered. I'll have my treat now. Let me see. So this is a continuation from the other message that she left off. We read it out. But it's important because I don't want your mind thinking that, you know, there's these are clipped and there's parts of it that you don't get in full. It's like, I wish I could see the rest, and that was the rest of this particular version. I'm sure there's a little bit more. I just don't have access to it. So, A Criming Shame, thank you very much for this little edit. Do you believe in your heart that Daniel could have hurt them? She's fishing for information. You know what I mean? She's sounding like a cop. This is anything but personal. I think Malehya picked up on that if it's not her lawyer answering already for her. No, it's probably her. Actually. My mind's getting carried away with me. So, the question from Belinda Gray, do you believe in your heart that Daniel could have hurt them? Now, that sounds like something that the police officers would encourage you to maybe ask her. I don't know what the actual date this was. It's a Thursday at 7:28 a.m., but I don't know the date in that sense of when this exactly was. Obviously not too long ago. Because it's at least since Derwood O'Grady came out, because they allegedly mention him, but there's a gray area around that dude, which is fine. Darren Getty's, a.k.a. Derwood O'Grady. I'm not even going to say the brother thing. I don't know, but we're going to find out eventually. You know, we damn well we will. I'll just keep that in the back of my mind. Not that it matters, because there's no sense getting it stuck up on it. Anyway, good to see you, ICP. I don't know, but he's been acting suspicious. Oh, shit. And it's too worried about what people think about him and not focus on my kids at all. Well, look, girl, I thought you're just going to say that you don't watch the media. You shouldn't know anything that's fucking going on. So how do you know he's all about himself? How do you know what he's doing in front of the camera if you ain't watching it? God damn, you're stupid, girl. I couldn't stand this type of stupidity in communicating. That's why I think that there's a bigger, she's, keeping my mind open about who's behind asking her these questions. This is Grandma Gray. All of a sudden, out of fucking nowhere, you haven't talked for 3 years, and you're asking all of these probing questions. You should expect to get stupid short answers like you're getting from a person who's trying to dip the law, who's on the run in that sense, who's in the middle of a psyop. There'll have to be a financial end to this, and I'm sure that this high fucking price lawyer of hers that she ran to has a little plan in place. That this plan's probably been in the works, maybe even before 2009, before the Tanya Brooks situation occurred. And this is probably a good time and a good way to get back at the same establishment that you're so anti, aren't we all? Not that I'm upset about that. But I'm trying to highlight the motivating factor behind what could be at play here. It ain't because this fucking tard is controlling. You know how quick you could slap the shit out of Daniel? She could slap the shit out of him quick. She's got a tracking father. She's got a close family. Do you think that he's going to be that controlling with her? That whole crew will come destroy him. If he lays a hand on her, if he fucking goes anywhere off the handle, there's a bigger chance that he's going to get his ass kicked than anything. And guess what? That's what 911's for. You can always throw that in his face at the time. I don't buy any of this bullshit. Okay, that's what you want to condition all of the people in the audience about, how he was so controlling and he was so this and so fucking that. This dude is dumb as a stump. All right? All you have to do is kick him in the nuts, maybe make love to him every couple weeks, and he's putty in your hands. You will be controlling him. He's simple. He, if anything, doesn't fucking know any better. He obviously got with it you. He got with your punk ass. Such bullshit. Yeah, you want people to think that's your story because it's a safety zone that a woman can play every time and the law has to accommodate you. For the safety, just for the sake of it. It's not like it's the first time a woman has made this shit up, and it's not going to be the last. Why? Because it's a go-to. It's guaranteed. It's guaranteed. I know I'm going to take a little heat if I'm wrong about all of that, by the way. I'm not trying to encourage domestic violence or anything like that. I'm just saying in this particular situation, take a step back after you digest the information at hand. And the RCMP do pit people together and let it play out in front of the media. Why? Because it's cheap and effective. And you play into both of these narcissists. And you know damn well from a cop when something else is up. And we can all see it. We can all see that there's something else going on here and trying to figure that out with only what you're given. All indicators would suggest that her little lawyer buddy, whether it's her uncle or a relation, this lawyer that's on the res, I think that Darren pointed him out. If this individual does exist, even if he doesn't exist, there's somebody else helping her. And this little congregate of individuals who have come up with this plan are working together in that sense. Has to be. You know, you can understand somebody who is caught in a battle with CPS. You can relate to that with trying to avoid them coming in and scooping up your kids, right? But you are now in a high profile situation and you got no need to be afraid, no need to hide. In fact, if your claims and scenario were as legit as you want people to lead on, or you want people to believe they are, you would be taking advantage of the opportunity that your 15 minutes of fucking fame that was coming to you on a silver platter when you called 911. It's clever. Why else would you engage in such a risky scenario if you didn't have an end goal of a payday through litigation over violation of human rights? And there'll be all kinds of intricate things in between her indigenous heritage and treatment, among other things. It could be just simple defamation, like you guys made it out to look like this in the media. I'm going to fucking sue the shit out of you, CBC, too, and that. And believe me, they'll get something out of it. A lot more than they had before. They get to keep it all in the family. Probably, just a guess. Just hazarding a guess. Just ponder that for a while. So let's continue to read. They talk like liars. It's because they're lying. They sound like liars. Yes. Fuck, that's... You know what I'm getting at. Everything, where did I leave off? So, I'll reread that. I don't know, but he's acting suspicious. I don't know, but he's acting suspicious, and it's too worried about what people think about him and not focus on my kids at all. Well, why would he be focused on your kids, number one? Why would he be focused on your kids? You up and left them. You're gone. Partners no more. Sayonara. Bye. Who the fuck needs you? You stayed there for 2 fucking years and you couldn't even help out, clean the place up a little bit, douchebag. And what the fuck was on those goddamn mattresses in the yard? That's disgusting. That's nasty, girl. Put it on the other side of the road for somebody to pick up. The fuck is wrong with you people? You people. I went fire there. I didn't mean like that. But what's going on in your head, girl? Let me see. Everything he's doing is odd. Oh, you don't say. That's a little reminder about human nature. People, when they're engaged in this, the first thing that they do when they are pointing blame is you're going to blame the other person for what it is that you're doing yourself. That's an old go-to and old faithful, isn't it? It's really what she's doing in this scenario too. Honey, you're suspicious. I don't believe he was fucking controlling. Okay? He's no Tom Cruise. But I don't know the guy, but he's no brute or controlling. He's got the cleanest thing he has is his four-wheeler. And she's probably mad because he spends more time with that four-wheeler and his buddies on it because their whole lives revolve around busting around in the woods on the trails, He's grown up in that lifestyle and is still in that lifestyle this very day. I was once part of, but I grew out of that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but there's some people who never grow out of that mentality in that sense. They're happy and satisfied with a $10,000 quad. I love them, but there's probably pissed off about that a little bit, I would expect. But what's wrong with her? Why can't she help clean the fucking place? By the way, isn't that your job as a wife, said Daniel? See where I'm going with that? Is that the type of controlling you guys think? There's no way he is controlling her with such an extended family like that, especially people who've been interviewed already. Get fucked. She probably sat in there and whined all the time. Like she's up to something here. So everything he's doing, and the police advised him to stay away from the media. Wrong. You guys stay away from the media knowing that's virtually impossible. Because wouldn't you notice? I'm pretty sure that she didn't. Well, who knows what she thought at the time. Here we are reading your messages through this particular medium a month later. Or not even. 3 weeks, 2 weeks? Last week, maybe? I can't. Probably last week. Everything he's doing is odd. And the police advised him to stay away from the media. To stop contacting me. And he's also tried to, well, wait for it. And he's also tried to steal money from my account through Temu. Because I'm just that low fucking class. Girl, what? You trash. Temu. That's... Not Tiffany's. Not even the Bay. Not even Sport Check. You had some money on your account? Aren't you supposed to be partners in that sense? Don't you share your money? Except when you're trying to get away? You would have thought of that. Is that where all your money is on Temu? Oh, shit. Well, that's more or less an admission to being broke, isn't it? My card was attached to his account. Well, what's he gonna buy? New slippers? Or maybe he replaced the 2 sweaters that you took. 2 Temu sweaters. He still got a raw deal. My main focus right now is to protect Meadow and find my kids. Do you guys believe that? I don't think so. Daniel has been saying to YouTubers that he believes you had the kids taken that morning and he woke up when you came back to bed. That's what Daniel's saying. Oh, can you see how easy it would be to pit these two in front of the media against each other? Like, the cops have to be doing something like that. A little power play. You're going to have to say something at some point, baby. You're going to have to talk at some point in time. And you will talk. Why? Because you're a huge narcissist. Stop being so controlling. Daniel has been saying to YouTubers that he believes you had the kids taken that morning, and he woke up when you came back to bed, like you do. So I like this response personally. No denial, it takes less time to say, what? Question mark, than it does this statement. Or, no, I didn't. That's impossible. Where is he? Let me talk to him. Why wouldn't you talk to him at this point? My guess would be so you could keep him stringing along, and he can keep talking to the media and only update people with a falsified version of what's really fucking going on. And that is the key reason that you had to leave right away. I've got this Columbo'd right the fuck out, girl. I know what's going on. I don't buy it one fucking bit. And if I can see it, I would have to expect the RCMP is way ahead of me. So when Daniel Martel is sitting on the CBC talking about there's so much more to this case and the evidence is mounting against, I don't think he's talking about Santa Claus, he's talking about you. It would be you. You're being used as a pawn in this game to make it and act as a narrative builder. And he couldn't work itself out any better. Because he really genuinely doesn't know what you're up to. Nor has he ever been. You'll make him out to look like such a huge fucking idiot, and you'll have people out here on social media championing that on your behalf. That's all they need. That's fine. But that's the intent. That's the reason why you want to bring this stuff out and talk about it. So you can set those seeds early. This son of a bitch in the background's kind of clever. That's what makes me think that it's probably the lawyer because of the steps involved. And when you reverse engineering what the hell is going on right now, you can just for a brief moment in time admire the balls behind it. And it would take a type of individual who was, one, doing it out of honor, doing it for a deeper reason other than just a little bit of fiat cash. So it probably ties back into their true feelings of an agency who's probably let them down in the past, such as the Brooks family has been with Tanya. And hopefully if it goes right, it's bringing some new money into the locale, if you know what I'm saying. When they get... Well, we can have that discussion later. But what better way to claim that sort of defamation that happens in situations like this? You can see it playing out in front of us. All of a sudden, they're going to poke out. Those kids will be running out of somebody's dress one day. Oh, I knew they were alive. I knew they were alive. Now, we don't know her mother. We don't know how much of an influence. We just want to simplify things in our minds. It's probably a lot deeper, a wider, broader family aspect to all of this that touches a lot of different people. And it's easy getting money out of these federal agencies, right? That's the whole point in getting them in front of litigation in the first place. You get up there and you get them in a situation for doing some harm to your reputation that you just can't undo overnight to this degree in front of the CBC. Oh, fuck. You'll probably have the public on your side too, depending on how it plays out. This is why it's so important to shut your mouth. This is why it's so fucking important to shut your mouth, Malehya. But it's too late for all of that. It's too late. I've got zero sympathy for Malehya. That ran out yesterday. Apologize. I've got zero sympathy for you. You weren't in a shitty situation in that trailer other than you were too lazy to pick your ass up and clean up. You can always change the situation. You can always will yourself out. You don't have to set up the other person in that sense. Let's continue on. Holy shit, did it get dark? Thunderstorms in the area. So her response is, let him say whatever he wants, meaning Daniel. I can't say anything to anyone anymore. Like, that's her little island, her little sanctuary. You're going to have to say something to somebody at some point in time. And when you do, you write it down and you put it in the pile. And when there's enough shit in that pile to come back and hold over your head, that's when it's really going to happen. That's the that's the evidence that's mounting in the circumstance. Take it at your own pace. It's not going to work out very well for you in the end. Not at this point in time. There's nothing you can claim that's going to really be effective, especially when you called RCMP instinctively. You should have said something else. You should have probably planned. You should have probably planned something. Nobody calls the cops instinctively. Now, no denial in that statement. Grandma says, your lawyer can speak on your behalf. True and false. See, he's waiting for just the exact moment, like the fucking Penguin in Batman, to spring this on the feds when they've taken the bait in that sense. And there'll be certain conditions and factors that trigger this particular event. Have you people not played war games before? Now let's go. Daniel is putting all events on you. So Daniel is really blaming you, putting all eyes on you. Seems like it, but I'm not following the media. Hold on. I don't know, but he's been acting suspicious and is too worried about what people think about him and not focus on my kids at all. Contradictory statements. Idiot. Oh, dear. Lucky she's sitting in a police station interview room right now when she sent all of these. What do you think? I bet you these came out as she was having a conversation with the cops at the table, right? The RCMP are there. She's, well, actually, why don't I just send her a text message right now? Let's pull that. Let's FOIA that in due time. Let's see. So she says she's not following the media. I don't blame you for not following the CBC. They're shit. So this message is missing a little bit, I believe, here. I think it is. That morning, yeah. So something that morning, and he woke up when you came back to bed. Okay, it was the previous message. Your grandmother's cousin, I believe that she's indicating this Derwood O'Grady, a.k.a. Darren Geddes. The dude with the nice mustache. Glasses. Your grandmother's cousin has been thinking the same thing. He too has been on social media. He's trying to gauge her reaction. That sounds like a police officer or two from across the table talking through Grandma Gray, if you ask me, but I'm not trying to blow your cover or anything. Your grandmother's cousin. Grandmother's cousin. Can you not just say his name? Isn't it easier to say somebody's name? It's just weird to me how you refer to... whatever. Has been thinking the same thing. He too has been on social media. God bless him. Who are you protecting Meadow from? OMF or OMG? Is G beside F? Yes. It's supposed to be OMG. I can't even listen to that. I've heard all that. I've heard all this. You've heard all of this? And she's protecting Meadow from CPS. So that could be an indicator. Not like it's the easy solved button. But it tells you that you know, it's really adding another layer to all of this, I guess. She's protecting Mel from Children's Aid for whatever reason we're not privy to at this point in time. Huh? Karen Jones, what are you talking about? Well, you can't definitively say anything. You know, that's going to be up to your opinion and your perception. I'm talking about a potential area of motivation. You're putting words in my mouth, by the way, darling. What makes you think that the kids did not need help from CPS? I think they did. What makes you think I'm going to answer that question when you ask it in such a way that you're insinuating that that's what I'm saying? See, I didn't just say that. So, stop trying to control me. All right? Stop trying to control me like Daniel's controlling Malehya, girl. Place the shithole. The place is a dump. They're horrible fucking parents. All right? What do you want me to say? I don't know fucking anything about them. Not enough to sit up here and talk baseless. You know, these are ideas. Conceptualized, darling. So, goes on to say, these simple little... So for somebody who has these, you know, Grandma Gray here, for somebody who has these in-depth questions, her response from the answers to those questions are kind of lacking. But I'm not skeptical about Grandma Gray. All I'm saying is it's just another thing that makes me think that the cops are involved in the background influencing these sort of activities. Just me being suspicious. Seems like it, but I'm not following the media. And I've asked people, that's the second time that you've said that. Second time that you've said and contradicted yourself in this, darling, by saying that you're not following the media, but yet you know everything that Funboy Daniel is doing in front of the camera, to the point of fixating on the things that he's doing wrong, in your opinion. You're painting him out to be a bad actor in all of this, not because you need to get out of that situation. That's so stupid. You picked the worst fucking way, but the best excuse. But the best excuse for doing things in a way that seemed confusing to others. But you gave yourself away, girlfriend. You gave yourself away when you instinctively, you admitted to instinctively calling 911. Bullshit. Impossible. Impossible. Seems like it, but I'm not following the media. Lying, for straight set, right out lying. And I've asked people to respectfully not troll me with things. Oh, people, send her all kinds of things. Send her everything. Send her all kinds of ideas. Please, out of respect. What's there to respect? What's there to respect? Your privacy? Fuck, too late for that. Too late, girl. Please, friends, don't send things to me. And if they feel it is out of concern to send it to the police, yeah, people would do that. They do that too. So she's trying to make it seem like she's somehow involved in wanting these kids back, the ones that she's got hidden out somewhere. Who knows where those kids are at this point in time, but she knows. The fact that we know that she knows is it's just going to take a little bit of time, I'm sure. We'll get the answers. Because the pressure is going to be on. So, oh, that's good advice. Is it? She's saying to us the truth always comes out. As though there's something being hidden here. A little reverse psychology, if you will. That's fucking low caliber reverse psychology. Low grade. And a little bit of sarcasm to end the conversation. She's still feeling glum. You would have thought after a conversation she would have been feeling a little better about all of this. But not here. Holy. Thank you very much to a crying shame for this. And Flight Nurse for sending it to me. The Temu account's a clue, Karen? Tell me about that. The Temu account's a clue? Let's go back to that message. all of her cheap ass purchases. I wonder what they were buying from Temu. Wonder if they got any good deals. Let me know in my chat about what you're thinking. I just thought it was a funny addition. Like, Temu is a clue. Where is that message, damn you? Hold on. There we go. There it is. So how do you steal money? Explain that to me. How do you steal money from your account? It's time to fill my Temu account up again. Don't you just pay for things? Tell me where you see, or tell me what you're thinking, darling. Who's that I see? Brenda? Good to see you, Brenda. I can't see it because I got my blue blockers on. Oh my gosh. How do you get a Temu account? Why not a bank account? Maybe they have a bank account and they just shared their Temu account. I think maybe there's confusion. What makes you think that hold on. How do you get a Temu account? Karen Jones is saying. How do you get a Temu? A Temu is just like a Chinese Amazon in a sense, with all kinds of manufactured things from, sketchy labor and cheap articles usually, but with a great advertising campaign. It's a shopping site. It's not a bank. He's not stealing money through a shopping site at all. Maybe I guess maybe you can indicate that other than the fact that they share, what does that mean? That they share an account? That would mean that your bank account, let's say your card number is on it. So it would have maybe a saving or checking account that you both shared. Yeah, it's not a Cash App card. No. So how you would steal money, like what would you do? I don't know. Maybe there's a way, maybe they're selling shit on Temu. Maybe there's a way, like even on Amazon, if you're a seller of something on Amazon, it's going to be all tied into your finances with shipping and who's covering costs at what point of time in the transaction. So with the Temu card, maybe there's the same thing. There'd have to be something like that. But in that case, what people do is advertise all kinds of products that they don't have in stock. And then they'll say that there's 25 items or 25 pieces of an item and there's 0. So they make 25 sales, say they're sold out, and then it's like kiting a check. They take all of the money that you purchased. They have that money, but then they have to eventually return it back if they're legit sellers. But people get themselves in that, and that's one way how you can make money through the little scamming people on. They're scamming people in a sense like that. I didn't quite explain it, but I think you understand the possibilities. Not like it's you do that for a living. It's like a one-off with a Google account, right? You used assume names and get. I don't want to explain it too much, or people are going to start doing it themselves. But if you've ever had it happen to you, it's happened to me a few times with items. It's like, oh, I'll take that item because it's competitive with whatever's popular is selling at that point in time. And then when it's like, oh, it cost me $50, so you spend $50, and then all of a sudden something fucks up in the tracking and they've shipped it, and then they say it's canceled like days later. It gives them like 4 days. So that period, that time of money, the time period, okay, that they made the sale, and the system finds out that they have to put money back into, that you are responsible for reimbursement. Okay, you have that brief amount of time to take that money and put it on futures, invest it somewhere else, bet it, or just take it and never talk to them again. Yeah, Temu, Chinese spyware. Is that what you're saying? Vivian, yeah, I've heard that actually. So it's not a bank account in that sense. Look, they don't have any money in there anyway. Daniel has been saying to YouTubers, so she knows that. Okay. Let's go back and see what 1111 has to say about this. Is there another? I want to see what she has to say about this.
There, so that CPS isn't coming down on you guys or something, or take the heat off.
Hold on, girlfriend.
Time to convince Daniel he had nothing to worry about. I remember you said he thought you were only coming because you wanted to see Cody. But I don't understand, because we invited him too. And she says he never wanted me to go, and I never knew why. He was controlling.
Well, I promise, girl, just come on back. Like, you've been fucking him around all of this time, in a sense. At what point was it a good idea to be together and have a baby, and then all of a sudden that you had to start conspiring in how you wanted to get away? There's something else at play here. It's not just Daniel's behavior. He just sounds like a dude who doesn't really change. How did it feel, Daniel? Good. Felt good.
And I do believe that.
Love it.
I mean, you can choose to believe how you would like, but I do believe that. I think that I pick up a lot of controlling issues with Daniel, in my opinion.
Like what?
So
people keep saying that. Maybe they're right. I mean, I want to make sure that you know that I'm not saying that he's not. I don't know. I don't know him. It's just sounding a little bit too convenient to add, that sympathy card on top of all of this, at this point. So people out there can have some sort of rationale or reasoning potentially to come from a foundation rather than the reality of it. He might be controlling in a douchebag, too. It's probably more. It's probably true. But I do believe that he's being set up made to look a certain way. And that's forcing him probably to, get in front of the camera and do things that he probably wouldn't normally otherwise do. I don't think that he's in on it. I think he's being used by way of whoever is controlling Malehya. But I could be wrong with that too.
So then Grandma says, why didn't you give us your address? We would have gladly come for visits. And Malehya says, he never wanted me to give it. I never wanted to stay there. So there's a big clue right there. Okay? That's a big clue. I never wanted to stay there. So she's saying then, I didn't want to stay at that place.
So it sounds like 1111's really championing this. Here's this battered woman, overly controlled in this oppressive environment. They made that environment oppressive. She had every opportunity to go at any other time. Why didn't she tell CPS months before? There's no amount of rationale. She's arguing a moot point, in my opinion, although I love 1111 in the circumstance, because I wouldn't have anything to talk about. I can't buy that. I'm not discouraging the ideas, but trying to simplify things back to doing anything in this circumstance because she was being oppressed somehow by Daniel is fucking beyond reasonable. Just beyond reasonable. Not effing beyond reasonable. I apologize. Just beyond being reasonable. You need to be reasonable in the sense where you can destroy your own argument. Yeah, there could have been that as a factor as well, contributing to their poor mental health. But there's other motivating factors here by way of Malehya. The silence, the call, the waiting, the anticipating, the avoiding media, doing what the cops said to stop. Don't talk to the media. Victim blaming. All of it. She's not once acted like a mother that you would be proud to have. She's a disgusting human being at this point in time, and I will always have that opinion of this woman. Unless I'm proven to be incorrect. And we're going to find out at some point. We're going to find out. She is full of shit, just me. Absolutely, in every step of the way. So therefore, why do people continue to build this sympathy narrative? Just because they want to vilify Daniel, because they don't have any answers at this point in time. They're busy formulating their opinions based upon judgment off of information that's not accurate. It's closer than not knowing anything, but it's all not accurate. That entire segment, that conversation, and I've got no way to verify that that's even real. Okay? I've got no way. I'm just taking people for their word. If that's real, you're in a lot of trouble, honey. I don't know how much trouble they're going to bring on you. I don't know. It's not like she's this joker or somebody like that. Look, she's just trying to pull a fast one. But the point, if it all falls apart in the end, they can always just claim to be stupid, right? There's a cover in all of this. But there's a reality of something that's going on in the background. And it's not by way of Malehya. No way. It's not her doing. She's a part of it. Young, impressionable Darren Geddes says. Impressionable, yeah, especially from her internally in her own, amongst her own, in her own family. And each and every one of those individuals, past and present, take priority over Daniel's punk ass. It's easy to hate on Daniel because he doesn't articulate, he doesn't express himself well in a situation like this. He is self-centered. Why? Because they've engineered it to look this way. They planned it. That's why what you just separate yourself from that situation and leave him holding the bag at that, like, minutes after your CTV interview. Fuck, you couldn't have waited like 2 days? Do it inconspicuously. You could have even went through the motions of having a fake fight to fool everybody. You just up and cut ties. Out of here. Sayonara. Even my kids that wandered off in the bush, everybody. Good luck to all the searchers. It's just been fantastic. Great party. Oh, by the way, everybody, are you listening? They might have been abducted by a stranger as well. So please. Another thing you can blame the cops for is not putting it out an Amber Alert because I didn't meet the requirements. You need to change that. More shit to accommodate me, Malehya Brooks Murray. Hey, Malehya, fuck you. You're going to be public enemy number one for a long time. Are the cops going to track you down and parade you around? No, this is going to be, they're going to try to make this as embarrassing as possible for the RCMP. And the only way that you're going to do that is if you lay in wait and bait. And they've got a lawyer working with them in this circumstance, this lawyer that they keep using as an excuse not to talk to anybody, this desperate woman whose kids just went missing. Yeah.
So she didn't want to be there in the first place, and he's controlling. Kind of
I
like,
will control you with my mind.
Is this
He was trying to control him with this 4-inch penis. That didn't work. Like, what are you insisting? Like, this dude is oozing with machismo? He's googly-eyed. That dude can eat a cob of corn through a chain-link fence. IQ 77. Probably. Not controlling. Maybe he is controlling. Who knows? Well, what is controlling in this circumstance to you? What does that mean? Controlling is a real blanket term. I want to know specifics. I want to know examples. I want to know such ases. I'm not sticking up for him. Not at all. But I'm just careful before I start forming an opinion, because then you're falling into that trap that these people are setting No matter what Malehya says, people are going to hang off it and feed off it at any point in time. So, at the right moments of the right times in the future, you're going to drop some statements that make things look a certain way. That's the whole point with staying on the DL, staying in the background like she's some sort of evil fucking villain at this point in time. Cheese and rice, people. And douchebag Daniel is taking the brunt of it. He's always been a douchebag to her. She never liked him, probably. She just puts up with them. She's not the type of individual that would make quality life choices in that sense. Highly malleable, one would expect.
Sleeping with the enemy kind of thing.
I'm up here doing the fucking RCMP's job for you
too,
for
so
free.
She felt like the whole world was against her. I don't know how else to put this. And I'm not taking up for Malehya, and I'm certainly not excusing anything. I am praying the kids are alive. I'm praying that's what she did too. Because then the kids are...
There's Derwood O'Grady in my chat. Hey, good to see you, Derwood. Don't mind us. We're just talking shit about you and your kin. This is for entertainment purposes only. Send all complaint mail to P.O. Box 43026, London, Ontario, N6J0A7.
Safe, right? In all theory, it would be the best case scenario. And worth holding on to a shadow of hope. But my point being, this is a mother that picked up and left the day after her children went missing, that didn't shed a tear during her interview. She either knows what happened to the kids or she knows what happened to the kids, in my opinion. But when we get into, yeah, I think I read that last part. Let me see, how do I make it bigger? Yeah, I did. Okay, let's get into this one. So this is the latest.
People are out there saying now, so I woke up this morning and Dolly Vision was on last night. And apparently, I'm not sure if he was talking about the same thing. I think probably was. There might be other communications out there that I'm not aware of. I think there is. If somebody out there knows, please gently remind me. But I did have something prepared. I was searching for the new, and I couldn't find it in the breakdown that Dolly Vision, or that I couldn't find it in the transcript. Excuse me.
This greatest one. This is allegedly the mother, and this is again that grandma, the bio grandma. Bio grandma says, "Do you believe in your heart that Daniel could have hurt them?" She says, "I don't know, but he's."
Well, now that we got the lie detector in there to satisfy the 5-0 that everybody involved, let's just say everybody questioned, didn't KI double hockey stick, as the question was phrased in the polygraph examination. From their perspective, that's the worst case scenario. These questions in this document are almost too perfect in that sense. Too perfect to be from Grandma. Nothing against Belinda, but they're too perfect.
Acting suspicious.
That's just me.
And it's too worried
might just
about
be
what
me,
people
my
think about
imagination,
him and not focus on my kids at all. Okay, hold the phone.
Who's saying you hate the cops? I'm not insisting you hate the cops. Hold on. I just lost my window. Just a second. What are you saying down there, Durwood? Hate the cops. I'm a fan now, LOL. Oh, we're fans as well, too. We just don't like dirty cops. We like to hate on cops, by the way. Some of them. Just the bad ones. Is somebody in chat giving you a hard time? Oh, come on. I think it might have happened 3 or 4 times. Karen's saying, the deposits to her account, it can be used for money laundering. Yeah. I'm trying to picture that. What money would they be laundering? Okay. You would see that in their financial documents. I'm saying that's possible, but there's better ways to launder money than that, unless they know something that I don't. I'm not saying that that's that's something I specialize in. I should say that right away. I'm just trying to picture how that would go down. Can you explain it?
I'll agree Daniel's absolutely focused on himself. But you're not out here on your Facebook sharing missing posters. You're not going door to door on businesses, sharing posters. You're not doing any type of avocation for the safe return of your children, though you're pushing or were pushing an abduction theory. I don't know what to do with that. How can you be all upset with Daniel when I agree he looks sus? You do too. You both do. It almost to me looks like I could see this going a few ways.
She's coming around.
I could see where I'll just say it. The children were put in Daniel's sweaters to keep them warm because goats were being left behind. I don't know if it's because their names were in their coats, maybe because they're young and names get written in the collars of coats for those preschoolers, truth train coming through. So you didn't want the name of the kids on them. That could be. And so they were wrapped in sweaters and put in stranger's car, and away they went to be no more in your life because they're talking too much and you are protecting your baby. Or another thought that crossed.
Hold on. Let me catch up with your thought there, girlfriend. So you're suggesting that she adopted them privately, in a sense. She rehomed her children under the radar, then went ahead and called 911 on herself to dodge CPS and just run away with Meadow because she's easier to carry? I'm not laughing at that idea. I'm just exaggerating it, I guess. No, it doesn't float with me. For her to have instinctively called 911, that tells me up here that there was already a plan in place to get the RCMP involved. That tells me that they're the potential mark in this little scheme that they've concocted in the background. It's almost summer holidays. It's going to be easy to keep the kids out of sight.
My mind is that everything that old Grandpa Geezer there, O'Grady.
I still have a little bit of sympathy for Daniel. If things are looking to be the way that they are, you've got to be either some douchebag. Like, what did you do to deserve this? What did you do to deserve this in your life? You get involved with these sorts of ladies? Boy, was that a sober decision? I doubt it. I doubt it, buddy. No offense.
Is saying is true. And again, I still think it's CPS pushed. I do. I think you pulled a fast one on Daniel. I think he was on board with you. And then you sideswiped him too. Like you did a total getaway. Like you and him.
I think Daniel's in the dark, to be honest with you, but anything's possible. But I think it's a stronger possibility, madam, that Daniel is more in the dark. Malehya is so in his head. Somebody has made it like he's left holding the bag and building a false narrative in front of the cameras based off of the kids walking out a door, an idea that she planted in his fucking head, and then went and involved the cops. As soon as she calls the cops, she really doesn't have to say anything else. It takes on a life of its own. Now, really everything in his life up to that point, right before she called 911, is on pause. When it comes to him, in that sense, in my mind. That's what he wants people to believe in that sense as well. And that makes the most sense at this point in time. I believe he's got all kinds of the answers that we could plug in together and figure things out, but he's not going to necessarily, especially he's not going to recognize those necessarily. Because it's not like he's still pussy whipped in that sense. He's still, we'll call, for lack of better words, in love with her. He's still in this mode of being in a relationship and getting over it, and sad that all of this shit has just walked out of his life, making it that much easier. He's come to that realization yet. He's too busy being used and abused, isn't he? Who's the one that's being mistreated in reality? You're watching Daniel get mistreated, but for some reason it's okay because he's a guy. What's going on? Grandpa Grady. The adoptive parents would have taken the birth certificates in that sense. Perhaps flight nurse. That's a point to be brought up too. According to Daniel, she took some items belonging to the kids, including their birth certificates, with her before she left, never to be heard from again. And that's fucking evidence, friend. Pardon the F-bomb. That's some evidence at this point in time for you. That's stronger evidence than her claiming to be mistreated or being mistreated. What's being mistreated to her? At that point, why not come up with some specifics? Actually, see, what she's doing now is saying that she can't say anything, any word to anybody at any point in time, going to a certain extreme. It's not just like certain curse words on the air that you can't say. She's self-censoring to the point where you can smell the culpability. Not that she's guilty of doing anything insanely murderous, we'll call it at this point in time. She's just deceiving. But it seems like her, but I don't believe it's her directly. Oh, Flight Nurse is telling us she really believes Malehya is a covert narcissist, in my opinion. Well, not so covert now, isn't it? It's not so covert narcissism. Figured you out, girl. We got our eyes on you. I'm beginning to think. Hey, Durwood O'Grady in my chat, if you're listening, friend, how many times, if you don't mind saying, have you talked with investigators in this situation? And how recently? And you don't have to get into details, but knowing what you've told and been public with, how is their reception and what is their mindset and mentality when you discuss these things with them? It's not like they're going to give you all kinds of details. They're receiving your answers to their questions less than anything. But what was the reception like?
Set something up maybe to get the kids out of there so that CPS isn't coming down on you guys or something, or take the heat off for a little while. But then why call 911? It's just the fact that 911 was called. Something's weird. But could the kids been snuck away from the controlling stepfather and the threat of CPS?
Those words in the title of this little live stream tonight is probably a lot more accurate. I wouldn't have got there if I hadn't been watching 1111 True Crime. Not that she's necessarily, it's not about being right about her things. It's where she takes you with her mind. She's stating a certain point of view, which you might not agree with, but within that, you recognize something and you get ahead in your mind. You gain, that's where you gain knowledge. Planning birth certificate. What the hell did I just see? Hold on. Oh yeah, just me. You think Malehya's been manipulative her whole life? Absolutely. Yeah. She's probably professional at playing stupid, I would expect. Lots of mental illness going around these days. Yeah, you believe in that shit? Whatever to sell you some pills. We can fix that, you know. Karen says, Malehya may like controlling men. That way she is not responsible. Well, typically, a man isn't too difficult to control, especially a certain type of age and mindset, right? Now, what did the ladies do in the Wild West? They used to stand out front and wave their dresses. That way, the scent of a woman could loft through the air and attract the men walking through that horse shit. You know where I'm going with that? I just don't see the purpose of reasoning behind. You don't see the purpose or reasoning behind hiding them? Who's saying that to me? Brenda Cheek? So this is where I brought up the possible motivation. And it would be baiting the RCMP / Children's Aid Society into a situation where somewhere along the lines of this certain investigation, they're going to do something or certain parameters will be triggered where they can turn around and throw a lawsuit back on them at some point in time for a windfall. All right. You're baiting them. You're entrapping them into litigation. You're entrapping them like a police sting with Johns. Only instead of being a prostitute in this circumstance, like Tanya Brooks was when she lost her life allegedly in 2009, and there would add an even more chance of this being true because they've got a grudge to hold against them. They still hold all kinds of little rallies, you know. So a lot of hate and resentment is festered up over the years, specifically because of how they perceive the case to be mishandled by the RCMP. So in the same breath, it's a thing to, you know, bring these government agencies to court and go for the settlement in that sense as a way to, you know, make money. You know, dirty, greasy ways to make money. And this is a part of it. We're witnessing it, in my opinion. Because remember, she indicated that, or maybe it was Durwood, that somebody within her family is a lawyer on some Nakwi reserve just south of where they are now. Or around somewhere. But if he's involved, this has greasy lawyer tactics written all over it. All kinds of stink all over this. And this staying silent doesn't jive. Staying silent and hidden behind a lawyer at this point in time, considering what you lied to the RCMP about, is so the opposite of what you actually need to do. It tells me that you fucked up. You done fucked up, girl. You screwed up because the cops have to be wondering the exact same thing, why they're involved in the first place. I would have to expect that they've been asking that since the day that they got there. But since they have to answer the call, they've got to go to great extents to cover all bases. That way they can come back on you and say, it seems like a different situation than you called in with. And there's all kinds of evidence to first charge you with, you know, falsified report to 911. But then it really shifts the gears and direction into the reasons why. But most importantly, where are Jack and Lily right now? That's going to have to be answered. And what are they going to hold out until the case is cold? And then come back at them? It depends. It depends what the RCMP do. But guess what? Guess where they are? Safe in their base, wherever they are, hidden back and on the run, not talking, not saying nothing, buried deep within the bunkers of that motherfucking lawyer's residence somewhere, under their control. She's all worried about fucking controlling men. She just ran to one. But this lawyer's got a lot more money. This slip and fall dude. So I'm assuming that he's a native lawyer. He would be all about all kinds of reasons. He would be quite knowledgeable at all the fucking reasons or all the other case law out there and situations where he wants to replicate. Kind of like watching that sex predator in my live chat, Rex Fredrickson, do what he does over on his channel. It's kind of the same flavor of shit, only on a little different scale. The only reason we're all here is because this Malehya Brooks Murray called 911 and reported her kids missing. Sky Maiden, God bless you. I appreciate you, girl. Let me see. Canada does not do interrogation to the same U.S. Canada. The Reed techniques, that's good cop, bad cop. I think you'd be surprised. You can go and watch them all over YouTube. You can compare. Has nothing to do with it, but flight nurse, Canada is notorious. The RCMP, the federal... First of all, do you think the RCMP follow fucking rules? That's why it's so easy to get them into court and for them to settle. They don't give a shit in that sense. They'll get the information that they want to get. But it's nice if they play by the book. It makes it a lot easier at the end of the day. Listen, they lie and deceive they pit people against one another. They do it every day. That's lying by omission. That's deceit. That's deceiving. You might find it different because the laws are a little different. But the premise is still the same. It's still wrong to do this and that. And getting the information out of people is under more of a mandate. Truth Verification Squad. Fucking nice name, eh? Where did I see you? Brenda Cheek, I appreciate you too, darling. Human trafficking is huge in Nova Scotia. Ontario is 13 times larger than Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia is 3 times the trafficking. How do you know, Karen? What is human trafficking to you? What does that mean? Does that mean, selling pussy? Well, you got a port city there, right? You've got an age-old, centuries-old tradition of selling pussy. Okay, I'm not sure if you know, but it's been around a while, and Halifax is quite an old harbor, so it would seem to me that it's got a bit of a reputation to a degree. That would also be considered an economy. That's not any digs at Halifax. It's a beautiful place. They're probably better looking than they are in St. John's. But I wouldn't know. The problems come in how the local police, especially historically, treat prostitutes. That's what people have a fucking problem with. They certainly don't have a problem with prostitutes when they're banging them over the fucking car, right? Why the discrimination? Well, wait until you become a native prostitute. Then you're treated you're treated like a subclass, a subculture. There's all kinds of resentment that builds up because of that. And it's not just because of one situation. It's systemic. Good day, Angry Mimi. We're talking about all kinds of family-friendly things in here tonight. Flight nurse, okay, that's good information to know. I'm not familiar with Canada at all. People think it's different in that sense. Don't let it propagandize you or listen to too much shit like that. Listen, when it comes to police work, I'm not quoting, okay, because detectives in it will be able to tell you the key differences to them. But it's not that fucking different. The whole premise to an interrogation is kind of the same. Just because you're not allowed to waterboard doesn't make it any different. It's all in your handling and what you're allowed to do and say. And by the way, you've got a boss to, but the information, how you extract it, it's the same premise. You need to get that information out of them. Whatever information sometimes. Every situation is different, right? But this situation, the biggest breakthrough of the case is the fact that everybody, hands down, I'm going to say pretty much, you never want to say 100%. We'll say 98% of people that are familiar with the case do not believe, one, those kids walked into the woods, and two, maybe more importantly, that Malehya Brooks Murray is lying. Who cares about Daniel? Daniel's been left. You've been tossed to the side of the road. You've been rode hard and put away wet, boy. You may as well go back and hit the bottle and sit around and spend some time with that four-wheeler. Get yourself a sex doll. It's cheaper. What's going on, Raven? That's not Durwood Grady's pick online? Is that what you're saying? I'll keep that in mind. How do I know you're you, though? Yeah, at some point, you just got to be satisfied in your mind that somebody... I don't care if you're putting me on. I'm satisfied. I just thought I recognized a discrepancy, and I did recognize a discrepancy because the picture is too much alike, and it's probably being misused and mishandled. I don't want to look too much into that. I get distracted. But welcome in anyway, Durwood. Or Darren. I'll call you Durwood because that's your name in my chat. You're back to your original thoughts, Flight Nurse. Kids got into party favors. You're not buying their look over here. I will be some pissed if there's dead children at the end of this. I will be fucking really pissed. I don't think... Nah, man. There's something else up. Like, we're automatically thinking the worst. But I mean, it would explain a lot. I think that's just too simple. I mean, in a way, that's what they want you to think. And when you think that they did something wrong, like murdered their kids, Flight Nurse, especially if you're an investigator, that might be the line that they're trying to bait the investigators in on. Then flick the switch, reveal the children, say, they're not dead. Now look at what all of the harm you did to me in front of the media. That's going to be $126 million, pal. I'll see you in court. And then you settle out of court for a cool 510. And they'll be all over the news. It'll be high profile. And then it takes on a different beast. It's not hidden. It's not private. So less likely to be corrupted. That's actually probably a really good fucking idea. And they should do that if they're not already. That seems... Because there's a... Follow the money in that sense. What's the point to all of this? What is the damn point to all of this? What would be the one thing that a parent would sell their kids out for? What does every parent that sends their kid off to prep school hope for, set them up for, or send them off to live at somebody's house at 14 being a hockey player in search of the bucks, in search of what we would consider success? This is just going about it a little differently. I'm with you, Flight Nurse. There is no rational reason to hide these littles. Yeah, money. Money. Lawsuit. An easy lawsuit. So you're automatically going to go with in my mind, that's the more difficult one. Death would be the final answer, and it's easier to tie in. It's easier to tie into my mind right at this moment. I'm just caught up in this thought right now. I'm not saying I'm right and you're wrong. I don't want you to think that, or anybody. I'm just trying to argue out in my mind sometimes when I read these things back. I'm cool with whatever you think. It's actually... See, this is really good for her because she can sit back and ignore all of the social media like she contradicts in these messages and watch all of this and decide what is going to best suit her next move, her next situation. Almost snack time. I got to get something to drink. What are you saying down there, Raven? Durwood, what is you going to be using next? That pick that looks like Belinda Gray's brother. Tell me you didn't use your brother's pick or her brother's pick. Oh, yeah. Thanks for trying to figure that out, guys. It's too perfect of a mustache. We're too confused over it. Not really. I could see her sending them to her dad's family to stay away from her mom. Yeah, that's actually fairly common. Avoiding CPS is probably the most fucking common thing people do when they come in contact with them. Avoid them. That's why you clean up, and that's why you keep your kids fed and happy. You know, you don't beat them with huge sticks because you don't have to. Semi-joking there. There's nothing funny about domestic violence, but there is when somebody's putting and pulling the wool over your eyes. There's something sinister about this entire thing, and it's not the murder. It's the desire for the money, the bucks. Just because you can't put the connections, that's what we're doing here tonight. We're putting those connections together. I'm telling you, there's a reason that people are talking about her uncle, or I think it was Durwood, talking about her family member being a lawyer, native lawyer on the reservation, hating the man, just geared up, ready to take the man to court and get all kinds of fucking bucks. They're baiting the situation. It's going to have to progress somehow. Or, what's the worst that's going to happen? They have to prove that she lied in that circumstance. From her perspective, it's going to be difficult because she's not saying anything, especially through the lawyer that we know of publicly. Excuse me. She obviously has to say something, you would think, to the investigators. Darwood O'Grady's in my chat saying, if the kids come out of hiding, she is caught for her first lie in the woods, right? And the second lie, the abduction. Where is she suggested that they were abducted? You mean in front of CTV in that interview? Let's go to look at that. Hold on, I don't know where it is. Yes, I do. That's kind of one in the same. Isn't that one in the same? In that circumstance? I wouldn't know if I would take that as two lies. It's the malicious nature. There's got to be something in it for Daniel in this circumstance. Like, Daniel, what the fuck did you do, bro? That's what I'd like to figure out at this point. What did Daniel do to piss her off to the point of, like, having her or her family use him as that fucking guy? Like, you know, to steal from. They're disrespecting this guy to the max. Like, maybe he is a fucking prick. And this is their way of taking it out on him. I mean, that would be cold as ice, but it happens. It's possible. We don't know that yet. Probably hear it through the grapevine soon enough. Malehya is not related to Tanya Brooks, says Karen Jones. Tanya's mother married I.E. Brooks, but I'm saying the extended family, right? Well, then what story am I reading? I'm not sure the direct. Yeah, I'm not sure the direct, Karen Jones. I'm not sure the direct relation to that Tanya Brooks story, but it's in the family, in this particular community. So the chances are that that's a binding, a possibility of a binding scenario amongst family and close friends, perhaps. Where do I see that? Just made April. We really don't know if there was a burning phone or not. You mean a burner phone? Like, yeah, right. You said burner phone. Excuse me, typo. That goes without saying. You would expect there to be. But we don't know. Malehya is not related to Tanya Brooks. Excuse me. Hold on. You get me fucking off sidetracked. I'm pretty sure she is. Pretty sure she is. Pretty sure she is. That's why it's relevant. Or okay. You're saying that maybe there's a separation, like an adoption going on. Hold on. Fuck. I don't know why I get sidetracked like this. I don't want to get sidetracked. Hold on. Let me search something.
I don't know how it works in Canada, but I know for a huge fact that there's an issue in the United States with our indigenous native people experiencing a high level of missing family members. And many, they feel threatened by the government using CPS to remove their children, and they have concerns, and so I'm just saying, could this be at play? I know it's a sensitive matter.
You could be even a little more specific than that. It's bad actors. Otherwise, it's not necessarily that. It's a historically oppressive since 1867. It's historically oppressive mandates that people are caught up in. And like that famous CIA experiment for MK Ultra found out how powerful the man in the trench, the suit is, the man in the suit and stethoscope, and its influence on people's decision making. Same thing sort of applies.
Sure.
So these mandates that they come up that naturally oppress and have oppressed people get carried out from starts with kids who don't know any better because it's their first jobs and they're garbage at it, and they are usually they're confused. It's very rare that there's good workers in that because it doesn't pay very well. It's overworked and they're overburdened across the board. And amongst that, there's bad actors that prey and make their livings off of the inside, right? As using it as a source well for human trafficking and things like this. So, these entities are powerful and they exist. And it gets taken out and shit flows downhill. And it gets taken out on certain people without any thought being put into the actions that they're doing with a bunch of brainwashed individuals. Robots.
But when you have a division between the government and in the band, right, or the native people, if they feel that CPS is trying to get a hold of the kids, like take them, they might be willing to, I don't know, immediately give them status so that they could legally change their name to Blackfoot and Little Running Bear and move them to a different place.
Okay, look, now you're just talking stupid. The kids already have native status. They're members of a certain Micmac reserve in Nova Scotia. That would indicate that the kids have status. Their status cards. But that just means that you don't have to pay tax on your fucking gas and you get cheap smokes, really, and things like that. It doesn't give you all kinds of passes in life. Quite the opposite.
For their protection, because they're protecting their...
No, that's a Hollywood look of it. No. Like, it's easy to go and hide out on a res. I agree. But you're escaping away into magical thinking. They're not that far, and they're up to something. And they're hiding out. Doesn't matter if you're 100 miles away, if you're 250 miles away. It's still hidden out. And what does hiding out in this circumstance mean exactly? What does on the run exactly mean in this circumstance? Like, when I put that in my title, I ponder what that actually means in this circumstance. I know what it means from Daniel's perspective. Daniel's really trying to paint, the situation for what it is. That's kind of what I get from it. But without Daniel, we don't get any information. So we have to hear it from a certain perspective, which is okay for now. Whereas, what are you saying, Patricia Burns? Good to see you. Hold on. Hey, Shay. Daniel is a bit of a dolt and was being exploited. I'm not trying to champion anything, but I think he kind of was too. She was playing him for a fool. Maybe he was pussy whipped, right? In that sense. Maybe he was Maybe he's just immature in that sense. He's desperate. He doesn't know. Maybe he was targeted while drunk. Made all his decisions while he was hammered up at a party, and now he's got a baby. Who knows? Who knows in that sense? But he did get with a person who had the same idea. So all of a sudden, isn't that the oldest trick in the book in that sense? When a person wants to get out of a relationship, you know, usually it's because the other person's changed somehow. You know, there's so many comebacks from that, Daniel. You could have so many things to say to her about that. The first one is, bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Don't beg for her to come back. The hell are you doing, boy? You don't need that shit. You can promise you're going to be that Daniel that you were in the beginning of the relationship. What? What's changed? Well, now you fart around her. I mean, what's changed? Because the situation between you two just sucked. It wasn't a good relationship. What was it really, though? You guys couldn't communicate. She didn't, you know, obviously children are going to be her priority. You've grown up without that until the past year, 18 months. Something changed around Meadows' birthday with attitudes and things like that. Maybe he got a lot more possessive. Maybe this time was going to be different. She just wanted to have a baby and live live happily ever after to a degree. Not expecting much. That's for sure. But what the fuck? Who's looking like a monster? Who's looking like a monster? You think so? I don't know if he is. People are talking about that factor. Of course you have to, because it's been brought up. And you have to talk about it. And I mean, it's not a real good representation. He's got a couple clips on CBC that never, and people are going to look all kinds of different ways to different people for a long time. So what is he really like? I don't know. Maybe you should go down there and visit him. He'd probably chase me away with a shotgun, a musket. Some sort of weird shit goes on there. Gay sex parties that last all night. Just Google child porn romp. What charges? RCMP charges? And there's a federal investigation into it. It's such a problem. Yes. There are posters on buses. Human trafficking is a crime. That's reminding the people that are caught up on the street, because there's always endless schemes about people catfishing you into believing that they're somebody that they're not, getting you to agree to work for them, and somehow a lot of vulnerable minds get tricked into this. Yeah, it's happening out there, especially in larger cities. Why? Because there's not many people in the country. You just Google it.
Their tribe, their band, their family from the man, the government. So could this be bigger than that? See,
ain't nobody sleeping in that house. You're not sleeping at any point in time in that house. You have to turn the air conditioning up in that tiny little trailer room of yours and drown the world out. One, you're going to hear everything. The entire place shakes when you open and close the door. Come on. She says she doesn't want to be there. I have a hard time believing anything that she has to say at this point in time, considering that she's hiding away. Can people please learn to say the nation's name correctly? Oh, don't even come in here and do that to me. You're going to make me say it. You mean Micmac? What do you say? Do you come in here doing that to me now? Micmac mercy to many, thinking of giving their dog a bone. Oh shit. Was it common for Meadow to sleep in? I don't know. Was it common for Meadow to sleep in? Let me move these lights. I can't see these comments. Oh fuck. Durwood, you should be ashamed of yourself. You don't even know how to say the nation. That's right there in your province. Sometimes they get me. Some I can say. Some, it depends, because when you start to throw French in there with these terms and pronunciations, it throws such a fucker into trying to read English off a screen. It's like, oh man, I got to switch. Until you get used to it. Could you please not post any Chinese or Mandarin in my chat, please? Thank you. Durwood, you should be ashamed of yourself. Poor Durwood. So Durwood, says Nor, are you any closer to finding out who was in the car and where they are? You know, if our hypothesis here tonight, friends, is right, I would say that it's probably the lawyer driving the car. Hey? If this little Hollywood movie that we've put together here in our minds tonight has to come to an end in an hour and a half, the easiest way is the less people involved, the better. And if your end goal was finances and baiting the RCMP into a situation to take them to court for litigation over the damage that they did to your reputation all of these months that you were looking for a couple kids that, you know, who knows what the argument is going to be, the finalized argument, but along those lines. Because they're all rookies. They're so easy. Do you see some of these cops they got working for them? Shouldn't be cops, bro. They must have been Reddit cops, like weekend cops. Shouldn't have been a cop. Way out of shape. How you could even say that you passed a physical, I don't know, but who sometimes you can be fooled. Like, there are some larger people that are quite healthy. Like Butterbean was really healthy in that sense. He had a healthy cholesterol, and one wouldn't think that surprised all the doctors. But I doubt this one was. You live in Nova Scotia, and you don't even know how to pronounce a lot of them. Fuck, there's only 10 people that live there. Care how it's pronounced, they're too busy trying to fucking manifest destiny at the place. You think they give a shit about pronouncing it? You see what they did to the buffalo? They'll fucking call it Kansas City, boy. Why? Because that's what the establishment is there for. For humans to corrupt the shit out of it and make it. That's what capitalism's all about, sadly. Only my opinion sometimes. But I love this place. I'm just another brick in the wall, friends. Durwood says, no, the only way to find out who moved the kids is from Malehya or possibly her mother. And Cindy shut down. Cindy shut down now? She went radio silent? So, friends, we have confirmation from Durwood O'Grady that Cindy Murray, big surprise, Cindy Murray, or Brooks, excuse me, Cindy Brooks. Or no, it's Cindy Murray, isn't it? I don't know. One of the two. Grandma, mom, the one who has influence over Malehya, who probably was in that car with the lawyer that morning, potentially, possibly there. That would make most sense in my mind. Like, how many people do you want to include? What's the perfect number? The lawyer takes up for like 3 different people. You put that law degree to work, boy. Ah, shit. I'm sure that there's an ounce of that involved here. They're just itching for any reason to sue somebody anyway. Isn't that just natural for a lawyer? Some, I would imagine, not all. I don't think he's involved in just family law. I'm just not looking for your wills. You say, Darwood, the only way to find out who moved the kids is from Malehya. And we can pretty much pick her apart from the things that she doesn't say. So we're free to speculate. Durwood, have you ever tried to reach out to Malehya and talk to her yourself? You ever just visited her family or friends and shared some concerns and talked about things with them mano a mano? And if so, how were those conversations? Malehya threw whoever was driving the car with possibly abducted. Malehya, there's Karen Jones. Malehya threw whoever was driving the car with possibly abducted. Does not compute. Norbeaster, why would a lawyer put themselves at risk like that? Then again, people, do you know lawyers? People do stupid things for stupid reasons. Yep. Nor for money. You can cut your just like the title says. Those two words mean and explain it all. They're baiting him into a situation of litigation with the assumption that the RCMP, being as stupid as they are in their eyes, they're going to wait till they get themselves in a situation where they're going to take them to court and have a windfall off them. They're creating gaslighting a situation, like you're organizing or engineering a really elaborate insurance scam. Do you know what I'm saying to you? Like a team of people work together and go in and break their leg in a grocery store, or they're driving down the highway and there are a few cars and they set up a truck driver into an accident and then turn around and sue. Right? Yeah, we're all there looking at the traffic accident, wondering what happened, like we are with this particular scenario. It's the same sort of scenario. You've got a bunch of these assholes, Malehya being primary, number one, she's the public face of it at this point in time. But we've identified the other individuals that are involved in it. What more do you need at this point? There's three. We've got three people. That's Malehya, her mother, and their lawyer friend. Durwood, who is the lawyer friend? Do you know any more about this individual? And by the way, lawyers do a lot dirtier shit than that on the daily. As part of their job description. They're used to fucking people over and not caring. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Backwoods Bonnie and Clyde. If she had a lawyer, take the children there. No reason to the authorities. Yeah. Take them to your lawyer. Yeah, why aren't you hiding behind your lawyer? Corey, you're right. That's another good point. If she had her lawyer take the children there, no reason to call 911, the authorities. So is Janie Daniel's mother, Norbeaster? Did Janie really catch Malehya early that morning? 8 o'clock, I think. 8 o'clock. What's her name is talking about it? It's a criming shame. Excuse me. What's her name? Sonny. Durwood, how could Janie be in her trashy trailer? Oh, that's a dig. Be in her trashy trailer and only come out because of Danielle. Because Danielle. Because of Daniel said his mom came out when she heard him yelling for the children. I haven't heard him talk about that, by the way. If you're wondering why I'm reading like an idiot, it's because I'm like 10 feet away from my screen. I feel like I just went back like to my infant childhood days trying to read some words. I am getting fucking old. Let's see. Oh, thanks for explaining the status card. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what it is. If that was a good enough explanation, that was a sarcastic explanation of it, but you're quite welcome. You're quite welcome for that. I felt it soothing too and satisfying. Patricia Byrne says there's no way that this hillbilly chick could pull that off. Pull what off? What did she do? She instinctively called 911. She didn't have to do anything. What has she done? She's taken the kids and left. She bailed on her man. She hasn't done anything spectacular. She's already done what we've brought up and mentioned. The question is just who was in that car and where are the kids now? Somebody out there knows. I don't. I'm just playing with the things that we do know, juggling them around in my mind, bouncing them off you, listening to you. Where are we here? Are you Darwood? How could... So this is Ravens... What is that full... I gotta read that properly. I'll just say Raven. I can't read that properly. My eyes are too poor right now. Fucking YouTube. Raven Star, excuse me. 200. Raven Star 200. Fucking glasses. What does that say? Durwood. How could Jenny be in her trashy trailer and only come out because Danielle said his mom came out when she heard him yelling for the children? See, it sounds to me that Daniel fell for it. Like the plan had already been set in place and Daniel was just the first spoke to go to. And while Daniel's son was occupied, in a way to avoid any further scrutiny or questioning from anybody else, she instinctively called the RCMP because he wasn't going to like what was coming next. And I'm talking about she was planning on bailing out, boy. She's planning on motoring down the road and never seeing him again. She didn't want to have that conversation with him. But she'd rather have you think that she's too stupid to have pre-planned any of this. And she's even more vulnerable. She understands the effectiveness of having the perception or public think that you're more vulnerable than you are. It's why you cry when the camera is running. I can't believe you fell in love with her, Daniel. But yet, you, Darwood, say Janie took Malehya by surprise. She arrived a few months after the children were put in the car. How do you know that, Raven? But yet you, Darwood, say Janie took Malehya by surprise. I gotta go hear this conversation. Is there a conversation I need to listen to somewhere? There's a conversation going on in my chat, friends, that I'm attempting to conceptualize, and there's obviously something out there, probably on Dolly's stream. Darwood. Then you said Janie said Malehya. What have you done? What? Darwood, then you said Janie said Malehya. What have you done? God bless you, JJ. Good to see you. You've not caught up all? Don't worry, we're not too busy. Maybe Daniel, you're saying maybe Daniel wasn't home the night before arriving home early to Malehya and her story? Well, according to him, there was a certain amount of time that sticks out in his mind where he can't account for her whereabouts within the premises of that very, very tiny trailer home that's falling apart. He wants us to think that he was sleeping. Maybe, I don't know why the fuck he would be sleeping at that point in time. Because there's probably not a whole lot of space to begin with, so they spend an extraordinarily, probably more amount of time than usual in their bedrooms, just because of the way the place is set up, probably. Probably a lot of laziness, I would expect, that goes along with that as well. Not digging on you, Daniel. But I mean, you just tend to throw shit out. Like, when I say out, right at the front door onto your front lawn. Fuck, why don't you take it to the dump, bro? Christ. That's the first thing you could do to improve your mental health, is clean up your environment. Then maybe when you're done, wash your dirty arse. Then you'll feel a lot better about life. It's like, you know what? That ain't so bad. I'm better now. Clean up your environment. It works every time. It sucks. Better start telling yourself that you like to clean. Maybe Darwood Durwood does not have a high educational attainment. Karen Jones, are you coming in here to go after people? Why are you guys so tacky on Darren or Durwood? You should be loving Durwood. Durwood is what else is there up here? There's a lot of hate coming in. That's just don't worry about that, Durwood. You're doing your best.
Claire, you have a good point. Hi, Nikki. I grabbed the wrong one. Love you, Nikki. Claire says I'd never be able to leave the last known place. And that's what I'm saying. She had no issue, like, gone. Left her car, according to Logan, the cousin, Daniel's cousin, the car had to be towed. She was like, I'm out of here.
When you make such an abrasive move like that, think about that. At the same moment, now there's no such thing as a coincidence. Isn't that what otherwise or used to be referred to as a quinkydink, coincidence? There's no such thing as coincidences, friends. And this isn't, it falls along the same lines. So you up and just bailed out and left and isolated, chilled out. You vanished the same fucking day of the CTV interview, moments after, a little time after, you called the RCMP, never to be heard from again. I think that one has to do with the other. It's all part of a plan in the background. It's a strong indicator that this situation was engineered, okay? From actors outside the scene, if you will. I'm not talking a stranger abduction. I'm talking Malehya and people working with her. Or Malehya just being a pawn in all of this. And there's probably shit that was festering as well. It's probably not being a popular. So here's what would probably be wrong about it. So Malehya, I'm just going to hazard a guess. Malehya got out of one relationship, probably into another, and got pregnant. And Daniel was going to be the savior in that situation. And you know how things like that go when you have rose-colored glasses in that sense. You don't plan for everything. And she did not take into account how difficult life is in that scenario with a dude that she didn't actually really like. She just finding out that she just doesn't like the dude. That's all it is. And now she's saying, fuck this guy. I'm going to just put all the blame on him. Because it's what narcissists do in that situation. All right? She's putting all the blame on him and looking like the victim. It's the easiest thing in common. That's very common in scenarios like this. I think it's playing out here as well. I'm not saying that it's that Daniel is good or bad. I'm just talking about the way it was portrayed. I don't misinterpret that for sticking up for Daniel and wanting to cause divide or further polarize people in their beliefs. I'm just bouncing ideas. But I know we're fucking right on the money. We're right on this bitch. You can be right on it and suspicious about it and talk about it. Proving it's another whole different thing. That's not my job, though. That's the RCMP's job, and that's what this lawyer comes in. That's what he's betting on, too. And somewhere in that whole process, he's already watching your every moves. Okay? He's watching you on security cam ahead of time, already planning out all of the scenarios and situations in which your investigation is led into. He has got the power over the police. Ideally, in a theoretical world, when you're building this on your little war game there. Dermot O'Grady, you have no receipts for anything. You are yapping about nothing. You best be careful. You Durwood can be arrested. Is that a threat? Are you a cop? And if they have enough info, you can be charged. Yeah, you sound like a 1-800 Crime Stoppers. I'm sure Durwood. No. Quite the opposite. Any information that's out there should be shared. But for a person who's effectively spreading misinformation, you mean, that's a little different. Derwood's not doing anything wrong. Maybe that's part of it. Do you think? That they're causing a fake scenario for people to say all kinds of defamatory things, and then as a first they're going to rewrite some case law and start charging people on social media over their opinions based off of certain things. And welcome to the dystopian future of the United Kingdom right now. So they're effectively setting themselves up to go and sue tentatively hundreds of fucking people for small amounts of money for contributing to the defamation based off of the things that the RCMP and CBC have come out with in an effort to find these two little kids. Yep. Perhaps. Bottom line, Durwood says, is Daniel never killed the kids. Malehya was sneaking, or speaking, what does that say? Sneaking to the road to be picked up. Janie was supposed to be away for the night. Janie heard the kids. Screwed up Malehya's plan. Oh, Derwood O'Grady. That's going to be a title. I'm going to screenshot that. That's so pretty. That's like poetry. Whether you believe Derwood or not, I'm open-minded. I love to see you guys question him, of course. Please try to keep it as respectful and polite as possible, as only a good Canadian would. Scrutinize the things that he says. And keep your mind open and always question everything. That's the best. You guys are great. I know you guys do. A balance. I think Malehya, says Patricia Burns, was finding it more difficult than she had thought to dominate and control Daniel. Hell hath no fury like a narcissist scorned. I like what you did there. Good day, Jenner. I like what you did there. That's good. Yeah. I mean, just doing a little bit of foreshadowing. At some point along the lines, their personal lives and their relationship matters are going to be of public interest, right? Especially social media in that sense. I'm going to put it out there, Daniel, if you want to talk about your personal intimate relationships with Malehya and all of the manipulative things, you couldn't have a better interview than with a man like me. We'll discuss anything and everything that you want. And that goes for you as well, Malehya. We can do it separately. If you want me to mediate between you two, I've been there before, friend. Let me tell you, I'll probably be a good therapist for you guys. Straighten you right out. Not like I expect you guys to learn, because you have to know what you're in therapy for to begin with. You guys are beyond that. Well, you know what? For the sake of meta, what's going to happen with this? What's going to happen with this? People are concerned about the kids, and rightfully so in the circumstance. The easiest one to ask about is Meadow, because she's presumably in the mother's care right now. Now, whether she's in CPS custody, I don't know that. I don't know. Derwood seems to think she is. Daniel might have been confused at the moment of that clip, because not everything is true that, the way you see things off the CBC. That's for sure. Hey, Donnie. Good to see you. Devil. These are people these are randos, bro. These are randos, bro. What is that? Duvi Hinojias or Dubihinu says, AB, why are you people shaming Derwood? Derwood doesn't care. There's people questioning him. Are they members? I don't think so. So you mean, why are people in my chat? Because my chat is open to everybody, friend. Why don't you stand up for him? Why don't you help him? Right, Mary, common and narcissist. You're right. That word gets so old. Malehya doesn't have to speak to anyone on YouTube. That's true. Or the media. Period. Any people she needs to speak with is the law. That's true. Raven, that's true, but it would just go back and to reinforce our hypothesis to begin with. That she's lying. She lied. So now you want to argue the fact that she had every right to do what she did in the way that she did it. The abuse by proxy, she misused, municipal services in that sense. But it goes beyond that. There's something more to this. There has to be. There's more than meets the eye here, just like Daniel said. I wonder what he meant, though. Yeah, Durwood's fine. He's got confidence. He has enough confidence to get out and speak to the public about this. He's not going to mind a little bit of scrutiny from people in a chat. It's fucking YouTube live chat, dude. What do you think it is? The squared circle? Terry T, it's good to see you in my chat. At the end of the day, we all want those babies found safe and sound. Yeah. Yeah, that's true, I guess. I guess. You're right. Yeah, but from the cops' standpoint, the priority is going to be Jack and Lily. No proof of life yet? Nada. 5 times Sunday, Durwood. 5 times Sunday, last time. They're useless. Fuck. Did I miss something? Oh, no, Raven. Don't be attacking Durwood O'Grady. Nobody's saying that Malehya has to come to YouTube or anything. Actually, nobody gives a shit. She started it. People outside of her control are going to they're going to drive her nuts. It's going to be the end of life for her as she knows it. Her life has changed. And it was to the point where she has no idea. She doesn't even know she doesn't know. So whoever else is involved in influencing her really exploited her in this scenario. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be for Malehya's gain. It'll be for somebody else in the background. That's my guess. Maybe they're satisfied with 15% cut of whatever scheme they've got cooked up. They're so trustworthy in that sense.
Okay, let's read this together. So she says she's suspicious and he's not focused on the kids. Then she says everything he's doing is odd. And the police advised him to stay away from the media, to stop contacting me. And
sorry to finish that point off, Raven. It doesn't. Don't even entertain caring or not whether she comes to talk to people on YouTube or fucking anybody. Okay? We don't need her to at that point in time. We already know how trashy and a piece of shit of an individual that she is. Okay? Doesn't anybody else out there feel as manipulated as I do at this point in time when it comes to this case? I think you do. That's why you're questioning it. All right? This lying fucking bitch exploited her own children in this scenario for just the depending on what happened, for just the length of time to this point. I wish that she is prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law in that sense. And they will. They're not going to be in any hurry. No, I don't. I think you're misunderstanding me, Durwood. Malehya isn't the fucking brainchild behind the plan in that sense. You're the one who brought up this lawyer that she's running to. She's being protected on the run. Where does she go when she's away from mom? You're the guy who brought up this particular lawyer. this particular lawyer and outside influences, maybe it's the next dude that she's running into the arms of. Who fucking knows? But this lawyer, I got it from you. Your mouth. I got it from you, Durwood. Guys in my chat asking me where I got my info from. I got it from you on this one. And I just brought up the possibility of it. I'm not saying that I'm not saying I'm calling the future or what is real and what's not. I'm just entertaining a hypothesis in this sense, a theory. Yeah, in that particular interview with Dolly, I believe Darren Geddes did, is where I got my information. Remember, for all the things that you heard on the street, all the things that were ironclad, the 1,000% sure, that conversation. So when I'm talking about this theory, it's important for you to understand, if you're understanding the theory, to realize that Malehya is just a pawn in this circumstance, being used in that, and somebody else, potentially this lawyer or whoever, is the one that would be concocting that particular scenario. Just a theory, just could be part of it all as well. But what's the point of calling 911 instinctively, Durwood? What's your opinion? What's your theory? Who's Hanlon's razor? You mean Hakeem's razor? We could apply Hanlon's razor. Maybe it's a typo. I don't know. What the hell is Hanlon's razor? Glenn Hanlon. Praying won't help. I'm afraid whatever happened has already happened. Sandy, are you thinking the worst? Sandy Morell's in my chat thinking the worst. And again, my theory would be based upon the kids are still alive in that sense. Hey, Mimi. Apply whatever I like. Who are you talking to? Pull this account up. Figure out who the fuck I'm talking to. Durwood, are you fluent in English? It's like I'm not having a conversation with the guy who's speaking all the information I base all of this off of. So it makes me question if Durwood O'Grady in my chat is actually the same dude. There's actually 3 of us, you said the other day. Let me go to your channel. There's the fake Durwood O'Grady. Let's see more. This person is joined in 2022. I subscribe to this Durwood. Who knows who this Durwood is? This Durwood didn't seem to want to answer any direct questions. Just for for future people who are watching. I don't know who the fuck it is in my chat. But it could be. You're trying to disprove my theory without recognizing the key aspects of it. So your argument, Durwood, you're either full of shit and you're actively not wanting to answer any questions, or you're just simply not the dude who you say you are. Terry T. I've noticed how you're hoping that I believe you're fucking Durwood O'Grady. It's probably Malehya playing with people. How do I know you're not Malehya? I'm not like most of those tragedy pimps. Blair Pie, I thought about that, but I have my VPN on and I can't use my text now number. If this individual is who he says he is, he'll call in, but I have to get my number out and ready, and I have to disconnect essentially from this live to do it again. I had anticipated something like that. I was going to take some calls just because I saw Dolly do it last night and there's some good calls. So I was going to try to recreate that to a degree, but I had too much to say about this particular situation. We got into this hypothesis. Now, I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm the first one to tell you that I can tell the future. I don't know what it is, but I'm based off of the things that are out there. And there's a certain je ne sais quoi, certain you can't put your finger quite on it that doesn't seem right about all of this. And you almost seem like you're being baited into a situation from an investigator's perspective. like you're trying to think about the motive as to why the mother would do this. And let me tell you, nobody out there, even when it comes to her being in a domestic situation, even rhymes to be as close to reality in this situation. It's a bunch of people brainstorming, and it's all fucking bullshit. And because they don't have any of the information. So Durwood, what are you talking about, bro? Durwood, you're just some fucking troll, bro. This isn't Darren Geddes. Fuck, we got trolled. Get the fuck out of here, bro. You didn't even want to answer any of the statements that you made in all of these calls. You would have you thought you had a perfect place to come in here and converse about it. That's a good troll. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. You should have just pretended that you're retarded. It would have came natural. And your buddy up there, was that your account too? Was that your sock account that was trying to enable people's belief? Why are my people going after Durwood O'Grady in here? This Davy, that's Durwood's sock account. You're quite the fucking troll, bro. I figured you out like I figured Malehya out, motherfucker. Where is that son of a bitch? There it is. Fuck this guy. Time out for 24 hours. You can come back and do it again tomorrow. I'd entertain you with something. Oh, guys, Durwood O'Grady was in my chat, and here are all the things that he was claiming. We've got some breaking new information. He was even more of a fucking idiot than he was on Dolly's. Breaking. Too bad you didn't actually have a fucking personality, troll. You could have fucking fooled me. If you added a little bit of personality to your troll, it would have been more effective for next time, okay? So you come back tomorrow, and we'll go through the same goddamn thing again. You can say Durwood O'Grady too. Oh, Jesus. Playing off my emotions. Do I look like Daniel, boy? You think I'm as dumb and thick as that son of a bitch? Is that what he does, Raven, is run an excavator? Oh, he's cool then. The real one. Durwood? You run a backhoe? Yeah, I'm pretty much down with the facts, Flight Nurse. Durwood O'Grady is. And fuck, I based everything in the last week and a half off of the shit that he's fucking said, really. Asking me where I get my information from. Holy shit, this guy is all over the place. Oh, I love it sometimes. The fun we have here on YouTube. So can anyone tell Acadian LeBlanc, what does that say? White Acadian. I think that's what it says. So can anyone tell me if the children are still alive? I believe so. Who do you think will get custody? Neither of them. Maybe Durwood can answer that. I don't think that one can. Lacadian. Well, especially not right now. Oh, yeah, hold on, chair. Let me see. I have a Coca-Cola break. It's hot. It is raining. We did have some rain. I didn't get to witness it, though. Has it cooled down much? Actually, yes, it has. It's 28 degrees Celsius right now and not as fucking humid. And oh my God, now the fan feels good, right? You're not sweating like a maniac. Oh, feels so good. It's Delbert Grady from The Shining, in your opinion, Patricia Burns says. Was that you who wrote that in my video? Delbert Grady. Is that Jack Nicholson's character in The Shining? Lacadian, he defends Belinda at every corner. That's probably because he's her brother. Oh, she's just a fantastic woman, trying to get in her pants. This incestuous claim to being related to everybody within your vicinity. forgetting that it doesn't look very good. On the family tree, the one that's circular. That'll Grady. Can you pick that up, please? We got it. Holy shit, we had a accident. Not that serious. Is it hot in the UK too? Is it hot, Donnie? Oh my God. Sweet tea, you're so generous, darling. I love you very much. Mwah! God bless you. Just because Daniel may have committed domestic violence against Malehya, he's probably going to want to. I'll give you that, Karen Jones. When he figures out how bad she's fucking him right now, he's probably going to think of what would otherwise be known as domestic violence in certain situations. Oh, shit. Oh, you're fantasizing about domestic violence, are you? You're such a bad boy. Well, look at how bad she just fucked him over. Probably wants to put a boot so far up her ass. I doubt it. He shows a little bit of hesitancy, I think, but he's still making her look a little bit like she's guilty. Why? Probably because she is. It smells right. Just because Daniel may have committed DV against Malehya doesn't mean she wouldn't harm them. So you're still thinking about, Karen Jones, you're still thinking about somebody doing something bad to the kids? That would be our worst. I guess that would be a collective worst case scenario, wouldn't it? I don't think so, though. I don't think she is. I don't think she has. I think they're up to something. So what would go along with that? What would go along with that idea? Like Daniel is somehow, guilty of being an accessory into something? And the Truth Verification Squad dropped the ball? Which could be. He had an excavation business, he said, in Dolly's, and been there a few times. Yeah, that's right too, Raven. Thanks for bringing that up. Where are you getting your information from, bro? Fuck. My theory tonight, this thesis, I'm not patting myself on the back, but it is as relevant and as on point as any fucking buddy else out there, including the RCMP, baby. In fact, I'm so excited about it. I can't wait for things to develop in this case further so I can say, I told you so. I told you so. Buying the fucking dips and selling the tips. Let's see. And it would include those kids being alive. But then the next question is, see, they've really got to take the whole money. They've got to go the whole 100 yards here, because putting, it would bring, too much question into your ability to parent your kids. Like all of a sudden now you're on the run. You're technically homeless now. You're on the run with a baby. You're becoming even less and less stable and secure, which is kind of what you want to get across to the Children's Protective Services or Children's Aid or whoever. You want to look like a normal parent. I don't know, even in Cro-Magnon times, you would even look like a normal parent, Malehya. Okay? There's no possible way in hell that you're going to be holding on to any of your children at this point, considering, and if the things that are true, that we suspect to be true, are true. How are you supposed to, you're going to have to go through some sort of process with Children's Aid. It's too far gone with these people now. I hate to do that to you, because that's the last people you want in your life, for crying out loud. But what in the fuck do you expect? You're the one who did it to yourself. No matter what happens in this whole scenario, you done played yourself, girl. You exposed yourself when you admitted in front of the CTV that you called 911 out of instinct. Holy fuck, that's just an admission to being the stupidest person and the worst mother in recent history. Absolutely. One, it would have made you the worst mother if it was true, if this scenario that you concocted was true. And two, the fact that you concocted the scenario is a close runner-up to number one. Even being in the situation is going to work against you. How is this ever going to fucking work itself out. You're going to remain behind a lawyer in hopes that somehow you're going to sort out your own affairs in some sort of fucking prayer circle. I hope those son of a bitches come riding in with red coats and horses and haul your ass out. And hopefully Cindy isn't too fucking crazy, you know, because I don't think the apple falls too far from the tree in this family. It's a cowardly thing that you're doing, and you're selling your kids out, and it's contrary to what's in the best interest of two missing children, how you carried this whole thing. And you're never, ever going to be able to take that back, including these messages, should they be true. But something tells me, again, that this was conversed, you know, in the investigation room down at RCMP headquarters. Sounds like a cop. Why? Because usually when a person asks you such a detailed question, the answer to the question is part of the conversation, and there ain't no conversation happening in these messages. It's one-sided questioning with brief, ambiguous answers. Further implicating that you're up to something, Malehya. You're guilty of something that we're all figuring out yet. We've got a running list, girlfriend. And there ain't nothing that you're going to do to get out of it. You're probably in bed with that lawyer that you ran to right now. Yeah, that's right. Derwood O'Grady. And Darren Geddes. Derwood O'Grady too. Fuck, that's what people in my chat were all upset about. I wasn't even noticing. It's because he wasn't answering any questions. He wasn't. They were checking him out. They were sniffing him out, and he wasn't. Like a couple of dogs smelling each other's arses in my live chat. I wasn't picking up. I was distracted. Thanks, Tony. Thanks for being here. Let me see. Who does Malehya confide in with all of her problems? Somebody on the other end of her little texting device, Lacadian de Blanc. Okay? It could be Cindy, could be this lawyer friend that Darren Geddes talks about, that she's hiding out with. That's her family member. That's what my guess would be. She, for all we know, she could be in bed with him right now, fucking banging like crazy, like a couple of wild animals. You haven't heard the truth about this backwoods Bonnie and Clyde. That's right, Karen Jones. Oh, the truth's coming out. Don't you love speculating, though? If we hadn't have sat here and speculated like crazy, we wouldn't have come up with the fantastic hypothesis that you and I did here tonight. Absolutely, we're onto something. You mark my words. This lawyer is going to be at some point in time in the public spotlight, and we get to pick that son of a bitch apart 10 ways from Sunday. That's going to be brilliant. Fucking slip and fall lawyer. And I'll tell you one thing, he's not going to be that good, and he's not going to be that smart. We've got Merb34ST on our side, boy. He's a real lawyer, aren't you, Merb? Somewhere out there right now, probably walking his dog. Now, this could have been all planned by Malehya and Belinda, so they all could be a happy family again. Yeah, so there was some... That's alluding back to, I guess, allegedly out there, word on the street is that after Meadow was born, that's really when her behavior changed. And she wants you to think that's because Daniel's fucking some sort of controlling freak. If he's that controlling, you think the son of a bitch would have a clean house. You know, well, what the fuck were you controlling her for? Usually, you want something good to eat. You want a clean house. Might want your slippers. You want a back rub. What? You know, what else? What else do you need? That's the job. That's what comes with the agreement, the partnership. What were you partners in, bro? It certainly wasn't business. Hey, Slim. It has some weird penguin or some Batman slide to this damn scenario. Some slimy master villain, excuse me. And in part, they were probably motivated from Batman movies. Derwin got cold feet. He is shy, Karen Jones says. Which one? The fake one? The real one? That's what the fake Derwood meant in my comment section. They're spamming my comment section, trying to catfish people into thinking that he's Derwood, because people will eventually forget and won't even care half the time just to communicate in his comment section. But now that we know that there's a fake Derwood out there, it's fantastic. He'll still come in here if he wants. You still talk about him. Oh, shit. Flight nurse, my granddaughter, arrived in Texas yesterday. Hey, Nancy. But I can't hold it against him because he admitted, essentially, encoded language in my comment section, one where I would only see that there's actually 3 of them, like a new Derwood, because he recognizes that there's confusion, and in that confusion is the perfect time to catfish people, right? Catching onto this internet thing. Catfish somebody myself. Oh, fuck.
And he's also tried to steal money from.
See, I'll tell you what right now, and you're only going to hear this here, my friends. You're not going to hear this on other fucking channels. And I'm not being a misogynist pig, and I'm not even covering myself before I say something misogynistic. I just want to guide you in the right direction. A lot of channels or a lot of people out there will automatically eat this claim by Malehya that she was somehow being victimized by Daniel, and she needed and was forced a certain way to do what it is that she's done. That is cockamamie. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Don't believe it. Don't accept it. Don't accept that. You know, domestic violence is a horrible thing, but this community, this true crime community, is overflowing with individuals that can relate to that and automatically are drawn into that way of thinking, and it's very unhealthy. And it's contributing to a negative cycle. Like, really, most times you can really take a look at the situation. Granted, you don't always get all the key details, but listen. Daniel's more likely to be just ignorant of what it takes to satisfy a woman because he's too busy jerking off over his four-wheeler. He's a big kid. He's no Lance Romance in that sense. You might think he is, in bed at night, but that's what bedtimes are for. He didn't have what it took to satisfy that woman. True or false? It's either that or he was being used the entire time. Now, I have a hard time believing that because one just doesn't go and get themselves knocked up, especially your third time. So maybe you should have got to know Daniel a little bit more before you jumped into his arms. But she probably jumped out of another relationship because she's the type of individual that needs a man, girl. You need a man, Malehya? Malehya's the type of woman that needs a man. You can tell already. That's why she's knocked up. Hey, I love kids like the next person, but listen, this is hardly responsible, woman. You got an 18-month-old kid and you're bailing on the daddy because he's an asshole and he's beating you up. This is like a streetcar named Desire. Stella! Bullshit. Daniel is probably not perfect in all of this situation, but he was probably, you could see how active he was, at least, in what was being portrayed. He gave her the benefit of the doubt, which tells me he's used to just nodding his head and saying yes to this woman. He's not really questioning her about that in that situation. Probably said all kinds of things that creeped her out. She never wanted to be there in the first place, she said. Are you going to believe her? Who cares? Who the fuck would? Who really would want to live in that place? Not very many people. All right? That's not breaking news. Who would let their daughter move to a shit shack? Oh, fuck, you should see some of the places on reserves. Oh, fuck. Come on, man. They have some pretty ramshackle places in and around most reserves. And they got some nice places too, but, you know, my point is that they tolerate a lot. They can tolerate people to a certain degree. And guess what? Scrapping is a thing. He's got all kinds of shit out there. It's not exactly illegal. He's into different shit. Dirty mattresses. Maybe he's got his own little flea colony. When your daughter has 3 kids and no end in sight, do you want to take her and her 3 kids? Listen, you know how expensive groceries are in 2025? I don't have to preach to the choir. You guys all know how expensive it is. Could you imagine what is needed? Not to mention, you put the added stress of an 18-month-old. You know, you there's a certain level of sophistication and dedication that you need to the whole process. And not to mention, you should love it, okay? You should really enjoy it. I'm not sure if all of that was going on. They weren't enjoying their times being parents. And probably their relationship grew toxic. It grew shitty. It doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. It didn't take much to get knocked up. And it didn't take much for them to fall out. What if she harmed him, Karen Jones? What if she harmed them? He found out and covered up for her. So he will... You're really looking for something to pin on Tim, aren't you? He found out and covered up for her. So he will have something to hold over her. Look at how I protected you. Oh, fuck. Well, that's their problem. You're worried about him further controlling her after murdering her kids? Is that what you're getting at? Well, your concerns are way ahead of mine. I couldn't say I would have much sympathy. It wouldn't matter to me at that point in time if fucking bus hit her. If she indeed did, okay? And I don't suspect that there is that involved, because I think that the professionals involved in all of the dogs that were there would have found something. You got to trust the dogs, boys, especially when it comes to tracking. Okay? When it comes to lost kids in the bush, more times than not, it's pretty fucking easy to find. And when you don't find them, in spite of what people want to tell you in front of a camera, because of course you have to go by the book in front of the camera. They don't want to share their personal opinions. Ain't nobody think those kids are in the bush. The dogs would have found them by now. Animals would have found them. Every time. Except that one time where they found that ancient dog in the middle of a tree trunk. You ever seen that? It kind of blew my mind. Some guy's hunting dog. This old ancient oak tree in somewhere in the UK. I can't remember where it was. But these archaeologists cut this ancient tree down, and in the middle of it, centuries ago, there is a hollowed out piece where a dog had chased something up the tree and landed in the middle of this tree. And I thought, God damn, that's one hell of a hiding spot. Like, they never found him. Just found them like centuries later. Holy shit. And then there's bog, man. But I don't think any of that is the case. Your immediate fear are going to be the waterways. Did they drown? Caves. I trust the people that are qualified to go and search down in there. They do a thorough job. And believe me, if they really think that they were out there, they'd still be out there personally searching. Not that you would continue to search after 2 months on foot. Be a little silly. Tell me that you didn't do a good enough job. But you can go and search. Actually, I've got that in the back. Speaking of that, go to this new scene. Oh, run to a new scene, friends. Take a look at the search area right here for you. Thank you very much. Hold on. Oh, I spoke too soon. It's back there, but it's going to take a while to sort itself out. Every time I open it up, I got too many files. The thumbnail generator, it's got to reorganize itself, then I can find it. I'll just keep it open in the back. Come back and check it in a second. Well, maybe I'll try this. There we go. Right here. That's a map of the search area. Different color codes mean different people, different teams. But it's something to mull over. If you've ever come across it, you know what it is. I got it over at It's a Criming Shame. I think I did. Maybe, actually, no, I'm lying. I got it over at some other guy's channel. There's a lot of people talking about this. Have you noticed? Hey, Donna Williams. What are you saying? Hold on. Let me catch up. Look into why Daniel's ex left him now, Malehya. Yeah, Raven, I kind of heard that. I kind of heard things. What's true, though? Like, I mean, he can be a huge... Maybe he probably is a huge douchebag. Who's to say, right? But that would be... how is that going to equate to getting your kids gone? You know, what's its relation to this scenario is my question. Like, how do we know Daniel's ex isn't a bit of a douche? Biased. She's obviously biased. And if you tell on me, I'll tell on you. Oh, is that what you're... Karen, yes. Hence Daniel saying, I will visit you in prison. I'd say when he said, yeah, you're looking into it that way, Karen, I get what you're saying. I would be an implied or a veiled threat in a way. I think when he said that on the CBC, he was alluding to they were all just finding out so much more information along the way, and that evidence was mounting, and it's not looking good on because at that point it's bringing you into question about the whole scenario, and he's making saying that by the time it's done they'll have enough here to put her away in prison, and he'll go and visit, implying that there ain't no evidence. There's more evidence stating that she's doing something to him in that sense maliciously, as they both try to figure out what's going on. Which you may or may not like Daniel, but doesn't make him any less of a victim in this circumstance. Because you wind him up, he really takes care of things himself. He was really, really for a while there leading the charge, and these kids were out there. Why? Because partially you trusted Daniel and his love in Malehya, and she took advantage of that, exploited it for her own gains all over the media. He could sue the fuck out of her at this point in time. Should he be honest in what's going on, giving him the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, you're saying... Yeah, he got to see Meadow? That's good. He got to see his girl, supervised visits? Well, that's a start. Good for him. Hopefully it makes him happy. Where did you hear that, Donna? You're hearing it right now, probably on another channel. I should let you guys go over and soak up what everybody else is saying. Why was both adults in bed and no children given breakfast right down to an 18-month-year-old? I mean, that's a loaded question because you're having us ponder and ask something that may or may not have happened. We don't even know that the story is as they told, you know. Are you saying that they're not attentive parents? Why was both adults in bed? Why were both adults in bed? Not right this sec. Hold on, chair. We got to go get some food and stuff. We've already eaten, but snack time too. It's a Criming Shame has a show coming on later, AB. I thought it was on right now, 8 o'clock. It's probably coming on soon. I was going to go over and check that out. It's probably going to be a nothing burger, but there's something new. There's something new out there. And it has to do with Janie. I think people were already referring to it in my chat earlier, but we'll go and soak it up. She has to establish a residence at a reserve to have legal aid from the reserve. Otherwise, she is like the rest of us. Maybe she is doing that now. That's a good point, Karen Jones. If that's, it would have to be true in that degree. Maybe she's shacked up with this new man. Maybe there's a new man involved and we just don't know him yet. I wonder if law enforcement has spoken to her since taking off with the baby. I'd be curious to know that too, Nor. I want to know everything. If the children are hidden somewhere, it was all about the custody of the children. But the Great Escape went wrong. I don't know about that, Lacadian. Maybe. We don't know, do we? We don't know her motives. Why she would call the RCMP and report them missing is troubling. It's troubling, and it requires a direct and clear, concise answer. And the RCMP aren't going to accept anything less than that. And nor should they. Like, they're the ones that let it get this far. Just hold on, Chair. They're the ones who let it get this far. Why are they playing this out this far when there's an easier route, a path of least resistance? Something more is going on in the background. She might not be better than Carla Homolka. Holy Jesus. And he may not be better than Bundy. You're really thinking the worst. I don't know. I would be shocked at this point, Karen Jones, if evidence of them no longer being alive would ever surface. If they're still alive, they're going to show up somewhere, and she knows where. They can't stay hidden forever. There's going to be some sort of activity. So it could be 10 years of monitoring Malehya's activity to figure out what the hell is going on. I'm using that as an extreme example. It's not going to take that long. But at some point, somebody somewhere is going to be talking out loud about it. And when that happens, it will be recorded because you, my darling, are under surveillance. And it doesn't mean having a dude outside in your car. There's 10 ways from Sunday to get the words out of your mouth at any one point in time with the vibrations shaking your windows and a little bit of a laser pointer. All kinds of ways to trace your electronic and all of the conversations because you're going to eat, you're going to have to go shopping, you're going to have to do all kinds of things. You're going to have to do all kinds of things that expose you. And should those kids be alive, I would expect. Now, did she rehome them? That's a question too. Did she rehome them, or did she hide them and plans on reuniting the family at some point in the near future? We don't know. You think Belinda has it in her to raise those kids, Lacadian? I think in a perfect world, perhaps. If you guys are implying that Belinda, Grandma Gray, is somehow involved in this and getting her away from Daniel, I would think that you're full of shit, because she's putting herself through hell on the CBC and implicating herself in a conspiracy to cover things up and adding herself as an accessory to all sorts of different crimes that have occurred thus far. And it all stems from being dishonest. So it brings you back to the question again. I know I almost need a flow chart with arrows. Brings you back to asking why the need to call 911. You could have called a cab. You could have called Uber. Get you the hell out of there. You needed 911 to keep Daniel occupied and preoccupied and distracted. I don't believe Darren Geddes. I just don't think his is well thought out enough. He says it's because she was in a bad situation and that's it. It's too simplified of a version. There's more to this, because it doesn't account for why the need to call those kids in missing. What was the benefit to call? Like, it's baffling to me at any point why you would call your kids in as missing. I don't believe the rehoming or rehoming because it, I'm just not sold on just rehoming to some other family in a native community in that sense. I don't buy it. That's her business, if it did, technically. But it still doesn't account for her calling the kids in missing. There's legal ways to go about things. And why everything all at once? So they all have to be related. They all have to have something to do with one another. I still think tonight's little topic is going to ring true over a longer period of time. Would I bet money on it? Probably. I probably would. Lacadian, be careful who you see in chats and who you think are actually who. It could just be people leading you on, like Durwood O'Grady was in our chat earlier. You never quite know, right? Well, Belinda and Durwood are in chat lives defending each other. And Belinda and Malehya set up Danny Boy. What do you mean? What are you saying, Lacadian? How do you mean set him up? I haven't seen that. Set up Danny? Yeah, what about the kid's father? So how is the kid's grandmother all involved in she says she hadn't seen the kids in 3 years. She's not involved with the kids. So Cody's not in the picture at all, according to Belinda. I don't know about that, Lacadian. I'm more apt to believe her when she says stuff like that. It's deviating too far from the narrative, but I'm open. But it's Malehya. She panicked. Panicked over what, Lacadian? Malehya in this situation is centric to everything. And so far, the one thing that we can really rest our hats on is the fact that she lied. She misled investigators by reporting her kids missing in 911. Everything else. And so everybody wants to start coming up with a theory about how two people are against Daniel, and they're trying to justify the reasons that Malehya has already fucked herself over and tried to make it reasonable. It's not. You're not going to do it. There's no reason to call your kids in missing. One, especially if you killed them. Okay? If you murdered your kids and you're going to call the cops on yourself, and then doing that you're going to lie, you're more apt to avoid police at all costs. for a longer period of time. This all happened in one go, one bang, bang, bang. She knew the motions that she had to go through. She had people in the wait. She screwed herself by admitting that before she could verify that the kids were actually missing, she called police. Okay, think about that for a second. She called the police before she had any sort of motherly instinct. There's no such thing in that woman. That's a lie. She called the police before she had confirmation that the kids were even missing. You didn't go look yourself. I'll tell you one thing. If you ever have to call 911 out of necessity, you make sure, and you're dead sure. That's why you go check yourself. You don't wait for Daniel to go and trust Daniel to come back and tell you, yes, it's time to call 911. We've got to bring in the heavies. No, when you're a parent, you go and make that determination yourself, especially if they legitimately did just walk away. You don't rely on third-person evidence. How are you convinced about anything in time? It doesn't make any goddamn sense, and I don't believe it, and nor should you. Hey, AB, how's my what? What is this? Hey, AB, how's your DTR? Dude, if you're coming in trolling me, or does that mean day? My day's okay. I hope it's a day. You're not coming in here to troll me. What are you talking about? Oh, my daughter's right beside me. She's good. Why? Why are you wondering, boy? Why are you wondering my daughter? My daughter's great. She's wondering what Dad's screaming into the microphone about right now. Tried to get me. Oh, she's in the screen right behind me. Oh, she's probably she's probably in the shot. I wasn't noticing. She's trying to escape my Coca-Cola very patiently. But anyway, friends, let's get the hell out of here. Let's go over to It's a Criming Shame probably tonight and see what the hell she has to say. Oh, your son? I'm not sure I did, Almagar. Oh, your son has autism too? We're autism friends. My daughter's waiting patiently beside me. I thought you were trolling me for a sec. Well, it's good to see you back. Welcome back, my friend. So Karen Jones finishing up. So she could say that Daniel told her to call the cops. She is not responsible. No, Karen, it makes no sense. We're talking about what they said. We know what they said now. She called the police. Daniel didn't even get back to the house and the cops were there. By the time Daniel got back, the cops were already there. She said she instinctively called the police as Daniel was out searching. As if you're supposed to accept in the confusion. She was so confused that the only way out of that confusion was to call 911. When the fuck has that ever happened? Answer, never. Absolutely never. But that's just me. That's just me. That's probably true. What, did you change your name, B. Almagar? Probably. That's probably true. Well, Daniel to Malehya. I know, you know, I know. You think that there's... I'm not one to see... You think that there's an active conspiracy and there's intimidation going on in front of the screen. Well, people are going to end up seeing the things that they want to see, right? So if you believe that that is exactly what it is that you're seeing, you're going to convince yourself of that. When the reality is, you can't really verify that. You might you think that he's openly being a misogynist pig and threatening her over the CBC with really coded language. Why? That's too far for this guy. That's fucking unnecessary, number one. Yeah, he was insinuating things. He was talking around things. It's circular talk, in my opinion. He's talking about things because he doesn't want to directly implicate her, but he's going ahead and implicating her anyway. You know, he's still insinuating without directly speaking of it. You're saying that they're co-conspirators, Karen? I'll keep that open. We're going to keep a running tab here. We're going to keep it all on a chart, a little file. Well, she got scared, Canadian says, thinking Daniel would do something, like keep her from taking Meadow. What does Meadow have to do with Jack and Lily? Answer me that. Keep that with you. Answer in the comment section. I will see you guys back tomorrow. Thank you very much for sticking it out, friends. I'll see you over in